Good evening, everybody. We are finally here. It is round number 1 of our Schick Global GT3 Series, and familiar faces, some new, some old, that have come back to come and say, how's it? Let's start at the top. There is Stevie. Racing Stevie. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Bottom left, we've got Stephen Koenig, who's going to be taking that commentator's role with me. And then our little surprise guest, Mr. Yanaman Prius, has joined us. He's jumping around in Lawson Dartworm. There we go. How's it?
I'm still trying to switch on my camera here. Yeah, good to be here tonight, Dylan. Returning to basically my home of sim racing. It's good to have a chat to you guys tonight and hopefully have some fun.
Awesome. Guys, so the format for this series is we do have a 40-minute race, a 10-minute qualifying. So we've extended that period slightly, but then only given the drivers a 1 super pole lap. So you've got to pick your place, get that lap in, and make sure that you make it stick. Otherwise, you're going to be starting from the back. And a mandatory pit stop. Whatever they do in the pit stop is entirely up to them, but it's just that car's got to be stopped, so they've got to work on it and do something. So we'll definitely see. Streaming live to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and it's all working as we expected. I am not clashing with anybody in the lobby, so we should be having some awesome racing. Ready to see Terry Wilford. He's got the first dibs of the day coming through on YouTube. Thank you very much there, Terry. Gerard Jansen van Vieren has joined us. Our Psycho Sheep saying, let's go. Duncan saying, only a stand-in to help with numbers. Well, you might actually enjoy it, and who knows, Duncan, you might actually clinch yourself a little victory. Stephen Koenig, thank you very much. Please just test one of those buttons and give us a little thumbs up if you'd like to. And I'm holding my breath and seeing whether this is going to work. What is that delay that we're waiting for now?
I'm not sure, but I can tell you that there is no delay to our drivers. Watkins Glen, that is going to be exciting. A track that is really put a few drivers to the test. It's got a bit of high-paced corners, it's got some tight cornering. You have to really work on your car's balance because it's very easy to just turn around, especially when you start heading into turn 1, which actually changes camber on the way in. It sends you right up the hill, and it's also more commonly known as let's go bowling at Watkins Glen. Hopefully we don't see the pins falling tonight. That's all I can say.
Hopefully not. I completely agree with you. And Stephen Smith, you're going to be joining us on the track this evening. I hope that you're ready.
Yeah, well, I hope so too. I have put in a couple of hours of practice, so yeah, don't want to give too much away. But yes, let's just pray for the best and hope the car does what it's supposed to do.
100%. So we've got 11 drivers that are in here this evening. We will have Rudy Bass. I see that he's come up onto the stream. So good luck, everyone. Hope you can join the racing soon. So we hope so too, Rudy. We do have you, inverted commas, entered into this competition. And I see in the background that the guys have gone over to the qualifying. So we'll get rid of our faces and just bring up the racing so we can see what's going to be happening. Stephen playing the director's role here this evening, and Stephen Koenig on the mic. And guys, this series is proudly brought to you by Schick, with the support of Bulldog Skincare for Men, LuxuryTime Pieces, and we can't forget nag.co.za. All the details of everybody is in the description, so go and check them out. We will have a few little ads and that coming up. And so interesting to see that Marshall Steve de Flum, also known as Vlamo, he's come back and joined us. He took a couple of seasons off, but good to see that Marshall officially out of the pits and looking forward to getting that qualifying in.
An interesting choice of car as well is going to be the Lamborghini. As he makes his way around the circuit. As we know, Lamborghini mid-engine vehicle, great rotation, great bit of power, and I think Yanaman has been on the receiving end numerous times of a Lambo straight lining the Mercedes. So lots of power behind that bull, and let's see if he'll be able to keep it all together. Only thing that I'm worried about the mid-engine vehicle. When those corners get super tight on him, is he going to be able to keep it all in check, or is that tail going to say a hazard to the nose? that is one thing I want to keep an eye on, and it's a very interesting choice of cars. We've also got the likes of Mercedes in there, and we've also got a couple of Bentleys joining up as well. It's nice to see the big old Bentleys coming in, the Boatleys as they're more commonly known as. Also, quite an enjoyable little car to go. Very big, but rather nimble for, well, its build, I have to admit. And I can't wait to see it. As we see a track map of our circuit, we can see we also got the boot on the Watkins Glen, which kind of makes it a little bit difficult. The little kink in the straight, if I can put it that way. You have to try and get your cornering absolutely right to carry the momentum through. Otherwise, you're going to land up off into the barrier faster than you can blink your eye. And I think that's where the challenge of finding the right braking point to not lose time and to put your competitor offline so you can get around him.
Yeah, I must definitely agree that from a car point of view, the Lamborghini is definitely one of the nicer sounding. Not one that I enjoy driving. For some reason, I've just never been able to get it hooked up. And for me, the little track guides that I have been doing for the series is I've actually been doing it in the Acura. Similar, great line there for Marshall. I just hope that he didn't take too much of that curb there going through the bus stop. But now as he heads down through the outer loop, you can see he is catching up to a back marker. I just hope that back marker is aware and gets out the way. Yes, he does. It gets right out the way. That was a little bit extreme. Because now that person is definitely going to be in a little bit of trouble getting his own lap time up and done. But now going through the toe, up the hill towards the hill. The heel, not the hill. The heel. On the brakes, down at 200s, down into, I was going, holding third gear there. I see he did a very similar thing, and now this is this reverse camber car that can cause so much trouble. But he has held on to that very nicely. Now through turn number 10, it's a little lift off, get the car turned in. A little dab on the brakes here through turn number 11. And off he goes. I hope that will be a valid lap. But we'll see when he crosses the line. It is a valid, a 145.2. So great start. At least we now know what the guys are going to be aiming for.
That's it. And I got to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the guys can do with the GT3 cars. Porsche's unfortunately taking a bit of damage early on. As you pointed out, it's definitely not going to help him out in this. And this is where I want to stretch out to our old SARCO and also current leading a championship in GT3s. Janneman, where do you think is going to be the best place to overtake, in your opinion? And then I want to go to the likes of Dylan and Steven. And let's see who's going to get the closest of which corner's going to get the most passes. I'm going to actually take them down on the computer. And we're going to see who's right, who's wrong. So, Janneman, where do you think?
I'm going to go for the place where I've made my most passes at Watkins Glen, and that's turn 1. It's not an easy place, as you saw on screen a moment ago. It's got a negative camber, so you're always washing wide out of turn 1. And to go on the inside is not the easiest place. The second place is just before the boot, but I'm going to leave that one for somebody else as I'm going to pick turn 1.
All right, and so, Dylan, where do you think it's going to be the best place to overtake? Since you've done the track guide and you've really worked hard with the Acura, where do you feel the drivers are going to take that advantage around here at Watkins Glen?
Okay, so just for the record, the Acura is not the car that you're going to be using to overtake. It definitely does not have the straight line speed here in the game, but just through some of the learnings that I have is that you get a great drive going up through turn 3 and 4. Get yourself in a slipstream, you move yourself to the inside just before the bus stop, and if you take that inside line, you're basically forcing the guy on the outside to back off. And I actually made 2 overtakes there in the PC Assetto Corsa race that I had. And that's where I made my overtakes, is you just force the driver to back off.
All right, and let's go to our driver that will be in the race as well. So no pressure, not gonna give out any secrets. Don't worry, nobody's watching you. You're perfectly safe. None of your competitors. Oh, and it looks like Gulf 53 Racing, unfortunately, going and spinning as locking up those tires. But Steve, where do you think is going to be the best pass to overtake?
I'm saying around about turn 7, between turn 6 and turn 7. Yeah, that's where a lot of the action gets done there. It's one of the two widest corners where two cars can fit next to each other. It's happened before. Overtaken has happened. Great races have been lost and won in that corner. So yeah, I say between turn 6 and turn 7, that's where all the action's going to be.
All right. So
look, I just want to add this. Look, if you get a great drive in the chute and the guy is a little bit hesitant on the power, you can definitely get yourself on the inside there and take him on the inside up the toe. We know that for turn number 7, it is an embanked uphill. You can definitely have a go up there, without a doubt.
Also, to point out, a lot of the drivers, they've been practicing extensively around Long Beach with their cars, and they had to now pick their cars to race. As we've got Michael Race 92, that's Michael Koenig behind the wheel. He's picked the Bentley, and I actually asked him, and I said, why the Bentley? Out of all things you could pick up, anything that looks better.
It sounds the best. Holy cow, what a sound, man.
That's what he said. It sounds the best. It also has one of the most South African history of the GT3 cars, excluding the Ferrari. As we know, Stuart White has been in the Bentley. We've also had the Peppers go in the Bentley. We've had quite a few people drive the Bentley in different parts of the world, here in SA and also in different series. So that's one of his things, taking a bit of South African tradition, putting it into the car that he knows, and has an absolute joy with it. Also, says the engine's in the right place. It's in front of him. He doesn't have to worry about it going and throwing the tail out too often.
No, man. The engine needs to be behind you. Come on.
No. Engine. Dylan, let's get something right. First of all, engine needs to be in the front and it needs to be a V8. Otherwise, it's not a car.
So, if we look at Nissan, the NSX, the Acura, where's the engine is behind me. I love the Porsche. Absolutely love the Porsche. Where's that engine? Behind me. Just saying. In my defense, I am driving the M4 in the Assetto Corsa.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, you're driving old Beaver.
Oh, the Beaver team. But Michael putting in a very impressive time, trying to work his way up. This is his first time around Watkins Glen. He's been practicing on other circuits, and went and watched a couple of track guides. Actually watched one of the races that we've done on a different series. Just asking where can he brake, how late can he brake, what's going to be the best setup.
I just hope
something a little bit more loose.
I hope he doesn't finish this lap, because I know he is going quicker, but it is a super pole, so I don't know whether he got that brief.
Yeah,
I think at this point he's just trying to get a little bit of momentum out of the car. But I mean, we take a look at the drivers. The Bravo tier is, you might think, it's not the top tier of guys. It's the slower chaps. Well, you're wrong. These guys lost out by 0.2 of a second. And, I mean, that is exciting. That tells you how close Bravo tier is to Alpha tier. And honestly, I welcome the guys to come race. Come join in the Bravo tier. See what you can do. Test your mettle against the guys that narrowly missed going into Alpha. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do. Come the race, it's going to be very, very exciting. Some new faces, some old faces, and let's see who's going to get it right. But also, one to watch out for is this pit lane that can end your race very quickly.
The pit lane at Watkins Glen is kind of an interesting one, because if you're following the car in front of you very closely in the race and he goes into the pits, his braking point is actually a little bit earlier than yours for the last turn. So might get interesting come race time.
Listen, I have seen somebody wanting to go into the pit, and exactly what you're saying. That person kind of realized, hold on, I think I might be missing this, and then got a little nudge straight into the wall.
It's very similar to the pit entry on Sebring. And Stephen will remember, actually during a 6-hour race, I got assisted and I went into the pit lane backwards. I had to do a J turn again.
I hope you weren't speeding though.
No, he was.
What?
He was. It was pit lane at 60 kilometers an hour, and even at Watkins Glen, 60 kilometers an hour, he bails into it at 160. Just slightly over. But what we also got to talk about, they've got to do a mandatory pit stop. This is where you can bait your competitors into thinking that you're going to pit. Slowing up a little bit around the corner, making them think you're going to pit, but then you get on the power and run away. Or you carry that pace through, get them excited, and then you bail into the pits. You making them trying to figure out where are you going, what's the strategy, and it leaves them guessing the whole time. So it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. But we've got our grid. Dylan, why don't you take us through it?
So first place is Marshall, second place is Nassif, then we've got Mafira, that is Dave in fourth, Julian in fifth, Memo sixth, Michael Koenig seventh, Duncan eighth, Raphael in ninth, and in 10th place, that is Greg.
Absolutely amazing. And just to point out, these guys are not only just SA based, they are all around the world coming to duke it out. And they've got their friends watching live on YouTube. We've got the guys in there, which is fantastic. We've got Terry Wilford. And, I mean, it's really, really awesome. Brian Gush also drove Winston drove a Bentley. So I got told from Terry. Thanks, Terry. But our field is ready. Audis, Ferraris, Bentleys, and already at the go. Let's see how it's all going to take off when they head into turn one for the very first time, for the start of the SARCO GT3 Series, brought to you by Schick.
Luckily, guys, they do have a formation lap. My controller's just died. I was pretty sure that it was charging, so I don't know what's going on here. Stand by.
All fine. But, I mean, this is where it gets exciting. And, Stephen, I'm going to lean on you here. You know these competitors so well.
Yeah.
What's going to be going through the head? You got your buddy ahead of you, someone that you talk to, you've done the 5x5 races with. Now it is go time. What's going to be rushing through the driver's head?
Well, you know who's quick, and you know who you quicker than. So you are gonna always try and get in front of those quicker drivers to try and slow them down, because when the quick drivers get out in front, they're just going to build that lead and then they're going to run away with the race. So a strategy is to get out in front of them and try and drive your race, but also trying to be quick without doing mistakes, because on this track, mistakes can happen so easily. Just practicing myself, those curbs are not your best friend.
That's it. And they've got 25 laps to make it count. And that is, it might look like a lot. 25 laps. I promise you, it goes by in a flash.
It does.
With the guys doing, 1 minute 30s, 1 minute 40s. The guys are really having to push incredibly hard. But what they're aiming for is the 2019 Watkins Glen GT, one which is 144.2. As our drivers make their way, warming up the tires, warming up the brakes. This is where it gets a little bit more exciting, because you've got to get some heat into those tires. Interesting tire choices though. We've got some hard compound, we've got soft compound. It depends on what's going to work on you. Now, Dylan, I'm going to lean on your technical knowledge here. What is going to be the life? Where do you think these tires are going to come out? Where's the advantage for the soft, and where's the advantage for the hard compound?
So interestingly enough is that there's always that tire testing. You're always trying to figure out what is the right compound for your race. Here at Watkins Glen, the track temperature is, I think it's sitting at about 38 degrees. I'm sure some of the guys in the stream can correct me. So it's on that cusp of whether it is just too hot for the softs, which means that you're kind of going to need to rely on the hards. The interesting thing is that the softs if you get your setup right, is that the time that you lose in the pits, you're actually able to make that up on lap time. But it's also making sure you don't get that damage, that you don't overheat those softs, because you get it on the wrong track and it's a rough track, and what happens is it just starts losing that grip, and all you're doing is you're just losing that 13 seconds that's required in the pits to make that change, where you rather get the fuel in, hit a little splash and go, and off you go.
That's it. And Janneman, you've raced in the Bravo tier, and you know exactly how quick you got to be to climb up the ranks of Bravo, because these are guys that narrowly missed Alpha. First race of the season, you're in Bravo tier, lots to prove. Do you think that Vlemo up in front has to work incredibly hard to hold back the entire grid and get away? Or do you think the pressure is on a little bit further down the grid?
Now, my experience of Bravo tier is it is some of the closest racing that you will do, Steve. As you said, these guys missed out narrowly, so I think it's going to be a question of everybody's going to go out and try and stamp their authority on this race as we get ready for the start here.
All right, lined up on line, Vlamo leading out, everyone tucked up behind, making sure getting nice and close as we go, and race is on. As you can see, guys battling it out. Michael Koenig goes to the middle of the circuit, but Vlamo goes out wide, carries the momentum through turn 1, goes out a little bit too over. Killer D46 trying to make his way around. You can see getting a little bit squeamish, and that has allowed Michael Koenig right behind him in the Bentley, charging down. Oh, Audi off into the dirt, and there we go. We spoke about the camber changes. We spoke about how the track can spit you out, and unfortunately, Killer D landed up with taking a massive beating there.
Yeah, turn 1 always interesting with cold tires.
Well, there's a little look to the inside. Will we be able to... Whoa, that was... Memo deciding that he's just going to stick the car in there. So Raphael had to back out, where if I was Raphael, I'm going to say, whoa, hold on. I've got the inside line here. You're the one who's going to have to back off. So I think the guy's just showing a little bit of respect there early on in the race, and that's exactly what we want to be seeing.
Well, that's it. You've got to be cognizant that it's a long race. A short, long race, if I could put it that way, that you've got to try and keep it all together, and it's not going to be an easy thing. These drivers have to start considering what's the tires going to do, when it's going to degrade. And then you got the likes of Vitoris, who's having a great time. He's in 5th place. He's eyeing out Michael Koenig, just only under a second ahead of him, and he wants to try close down that gap. And you can see that Porsche just getting him into the corners. Bentley a little bit more straight line horsepower by the looks of it, but that Porsche is all over the back. Michael Koenig goes out very wide though, has to brake, and that has allowed Venturous to get by. Side by side, this is going to be hard work. Oh, just managing to keep it all together. Both drivers trying to figure it out. Mike going on the defensive, but this Porsche is really carving him up through the corners, down on the straight, and blast past the big Bentley, moving up into 4th place.
That's an absolutely great move there for Memo, just showing that he's got the confidence in the car. He's able to stick it in there, get that power on, and winning the drag against the Bentley in a Porsche, that's not an easy feat.
Not at all. You've got a flat 6 versus V8, and there is no replacement for displacement, even though there's a BOP. We know the capabilities of a bigger engine, what it can do, but the Porsche Legacy showing off what it can do. Man, we're trying to run away. Michael Koenig is looking in his rearview mirrors though, as we got a little bit of a battle with Hills 666 coming by. He managed to get past both Audis, and now is chasing after Michael Koenig. So that is a big move on his part. Silverback a little bit down, 5.6 seconds in the Audi, also going on the defensive, and has Killer D all over the of him at this point. Goes out wide and into the wall. That has damaged his race, I think, and he's got to try and figure out how much damage is on that Audi now, how much downforce has been lost. The Audi relies heavily on that front splitter, and going and scraping up against the Onco barrier does not help it at all.
Well, that was I think it was just too much watching the mirror as opposed to looking for the breaking point. But Duncan in a 6th place, he's now closing up on the Bentley. Duncan I'd say runs the ACC Motorsport, when that is a Memo who's had a little spin there coming out of turn number 9. Looks like that Porsche just over-rotated, which has now put him in quite an interesting position. He's now going to fight not only Michael Koenig again, but now has to get himself past Duncan. As Duncan just scraping on the outside wall, coming out of turn number 11. Looks like he just didn't have that grip. And Memo having a look to the inside, but decides rather let Duncan go through and have a go along the straight.
That's it. It's about trying to figure out your competitors. He has the opportunity to try and close down that gap, really work hard to try and pull by it. But Memo is going to have to battle it out really, really hard now to get round these two ginormous V8s ahead of him. And he gets into the slipstream, heading towards bus stop, and he's on the wrong line. As you said, whoa, never mind. Duncan goes flying off, gets it all out of shape, and drops way back. Memo saying thank you very much. Gets on the power and chases after Michael Koenig again. But what a turn of events here. Bus stop going and working in favor of Duncan. And unfortunately, Duncan was just on the wrong line, and it spat him out towards the barrier, but luckily managed to avoid that. But now Michael Koenig once again checking his mirrors. Very familiar sight, seeing this Porsche hunting him down. Goes out wide, gets on the power, trying to carry a little bit more momentum. Michael trying to go to the middle of the circuit, hard on the throttle. Let's see, will they be able to make it under braking though? Michael going very late on the brakes. Memo going and pushing hard. Absolutely brilliant. So, I mean, this is a battle for 4th and 5th. Along with, we cannot count out Killer D in 6th place, watching them very, very closely.
Michael
bagging the
White
wall there. But what a race. I mean, this is turning into, 4-horse, 5-horse race. And I got to say, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, Janneman, you raced with these guys early on. Whoa. Okay, Memo going and deciding to get a little bit argy-bargy there to get past Mike. But, rubbing his racing. And what a start it has been. Janneman, your thoughts on this so far?
It's absolute awesome racing. I mean, this is, you said rubbing is racing. At the moment, they're racing this like touring cars. Brings back some fond memories of races I've had in GT3s. But, and it takes, let's be honest, it takes a fair amount of skill to race these cars so closely. Race it like a touring car, but it's by no means a touring car.
And the thing that I'm really enjoying is that, Mike will go to the outside. Memo knows that he's there, but instead of Memo blocking him and pushing him, they're just running too wide, just holding the line. And we've got Dave, who's behind, who's just given the respect to say, look, these guys are going to battle it out. I'm going to wait for my opportunity. You can see Memo trying a different line to say, well, how do I get past this Bentley? Can I try around the outside? And almost touching, which now has got Raphael on the inside of Dave. And honestly thought that they would touch there. There wasn't any touching. They've managed to keep that battle. Sorry, guys, that was cameraman Tim, a little bit confused still. We just can't get rid of the guy.
You still haven't fired him.
No, we can't get rid of cameraman Tim. This is what happens when you've got your special friend, You've got Michael's wide, which allows Memo to go through. So Memo up now into 4th place. We did see that Memo did get onto the power. That's very close up against the wall there. Jeez.
All of them are pushing as hard as they can to really get ahead of one another. Memo now stretching that gap, trying to pull away from the likes of Michael Koenig, Killer D, Duncan, everyone behind him. He wants to get rid of them, but Michael's got a problem. Audi on the outside, Audi on the inside. Where do you look? The center mirror is the only place that's safe at this point because your wing mirrors are full of Audi power.
It just managed to catch that. But I'll tell you what's happening in the back there. If you look at those lap times, so you look at Memo, 51.5, Mark, 53, then Raphael, 52, Killer Dave, 53. Then we've got Duncan, 51. Duncan's going to come back into this race.
Duncan is really pushing hard, and Janneman, you know that curb all too well into turn 1. Take too much of it and it'll spit you out quite quickly. That's exactly what we saw.
Yeah, it's as I said earlier, turn 1, it's got that negative camber, so it wants to push the car wide, and And not just that, if you're sitting with a car with too much front end grip, it's got to sit with a light rear end on it through turn one. So it's all about balancing it with the throttle and the steering. And if you get the balance wrong, it can spit you out very quickly.
So guys, I did want to just have a quick look here to see what was happening in the comments. Let's pick it up. We've got Marius Botba. He'll be joining us a little bit later, driving in his original silver back racing Cadillac. Really excited to see that car back on the track. And he's saying, enjoy fellas, flat out. We've got Stephen Erwee. Greetings all. How's it, Stephen? Lucky to have you back as well. And Gerard, it says elbow cough, which is actually the dab. So lekker Gerard. We'll see Gerard joining us a little bit later. So if you think of Gerard, we know that in the touring car, he was definitely right up there in terms of the drivers in the racing. But Gerard just managed to get himself qualified in the Alpha tier. So it just shows you how close that the racing is going to be. So looking forward to seeing that. Michael Koenig, just mentioned that he had trouble, but he is back. Rudy saying, I think it's time to make an M6 comeback. So it will be awesome to see that M6 in that yellow. And that was from Rudy's original Synergy Racing times. Greg Campbell, is there another race? Greg, I did not even notice that you're disconnected, my man. I do apologize. And then, guys, excuse the Earth Thunder, Tinder. We will definitely fix our little bot just to stop that wonderful messaging to come through. But that's where we're currently sitting. So guys, if you are watching, let us know who you're supporting. What do you think of the racing so far? We definitely love to hear from you as Mike goes in little side by side there as they both now run wide. Oh, big contact. Oh,
everyone just going a little bit too much, no give. Michael Koenig first of that train, and unfortunately Killer D followed suit, and then we had Silverback unfortunately getting both barrels and dropping way behind. But at least they're starting to make up a bit of ground. A little bit of damage to the front end of the Audi, but this is where the pit stops have become a little bit more critical, and the guys are going to have to start thinking when is going to be the best time to do it. I mean, it's absolutely insane to see how these guys are pushing. The wall again. Oh no!
Oh, steering damage on that car.
That steering is definitely not straight. There's our pit stop, guys, going and putting a little bit of fuel in, deciding not to change out the tires. So a little bit of short work. I know they're just doing a bit of work on the car, probably just going and buffing things out, giving the guy a spare mint in the car. There we go. Let's try and help out. But what a race has been. So far, 2 pit stops in. And guys, if you are interested to come and join here in SARCO and race against our Bravo and Alpha tier, we would love to have you guys here. And I know Project Cars is actually on sale on console, so go grab it. It is a ton of fun, and it's worth coming and driving with the guys. There's a lot happening as time goes on, but some good times being put in. But so far, second place, NAF75, having a great time out there in the Ferrari.
So, what I wanted to say is that there weren't many Ferraris that have entered, but Nassif has definitely stepped up here. Saw just in some of the practices that he was doing, and what was that almost commentator's curse? My goodness.
You didn't finish your sentence, that's why you didn't hit the wall.
And Nassif will actually be joining us a little bit later when Stephen goes and does his racing. As our director this evening.
That's it. And I've actually got to ask, Stephen, you checking this entire battle going on, you seeing how the guys are, struggling with the cars a little bit out there. What's your take on it? Are you a bit nervous going into Alpha tier? Is there something that you're seeing here that you need to re-look at your setup? What's the sort of thoughts running through your mind?
No. Not touching the setup. I'm happy with the car as it is. I've done that before where you play around the last minute, you start doubting yourself. No, I'm leaving the setup. I'm happy with the car the way it is. It will work. I know it. I just got to just put it together.
Just believe, Stevie. Just believe.
Yeah, I just need to just drive the car like I normally do, and it'll work out.
Well, I mean, taking a look at these drivers really pushing hard, like Naf going in, putting in a great time in the Ferrari, really working hard. These are guys that just narrowly missed out going into Alpha tier. These were the guys chasing you down at Long Beach, looking for those times. I mean, you've got to take a step back and say, wow, Bravo tier is really pulling out the stops for round number 1 of the Schick GT3 Championship, brought to you by SARCO.
No, definitely. Everyone's always said, "Oh, the Bravo is for the slower guys." It's not. You could literally take Bravo and the Alpha symbol away, and you could have Z and X. For example, the competition level is, if not higher in Bravo than in Alpha, because the guys, they don't know who always is going to win, and there's always a different winner that's in Bravo. It's never the same person. Where in Alpha, you normally get to see the same 3 guys or 4 guys in those positions, so you know exactly where you're gonna finish at the end of the race. But where Bravo, you have no idea. Anything can happen. You could have a newcomer come in, and all of a sudden he puts it on TQ. Never raced with him before. It's just one of those things. So yes, with Bravo, there is no that guy is gonna win it hands down.
That's it. And just taking a look, Michael Koenig holding back Silverback, but Silverback definitely out cornering the Bentley, and this is showing a little bit more practice going to Silverback compared to the likes of Michael Koenig, who's, I think only now starting to find his feet at Watkins Glen. It's a new circuit for him, and it's definitely showing he's not getting the same corner pace out of the corners to break away from the Audi of Silverback. Silverback closes right up on him, but unfortunately Michael's putting his car in the middle of the circuit and really doing what he can. And I won't lie, I see a little bit of pride there of that's something that our father taught us to do. Put it in the middle of the circuit. If you're not sure which way you're going into the corner.
You're an expert at that.
Well, listen, there's a saying, it's one thing to catch up, another thing to overtake. You can also ask Ross Whitehead what it's like to overtake a green Mamba. I'm sure you'll have some stories to tell you as well.
I can tell you how to park a green Mamba into the trees.
Oh, no!
Oh, big contact.
Silverback getting right into the back of Michael, but
Oh
Michael,
no, that was actually very unfortunate, because what had happened is that Michael had gone a little bit wide. He just clipped the outside wall, which bounced him back, and Raphael just collected him. So that was, I'd say, no fault to anybody there.
it's just heartbreaking. I think getting in that situation where there's just nothing you can do, and seeing Brandon Santos, Raf has not done any practice. We chose the car 20 minutes before the race, but putting in a great performance. But as we brought up, it's an incident like that is unfortunate. There's nowhere to go. Someone made a mess in front of you, but you're so close in your pace that
Sorry. So obviously Ross Whitehead is watching. It just says no comment, Dylan.
Fair enough.
There's a few tracks. I think of Algarve. I think of Zolder. See, and there's no such thing as Mamba Fever. Then why did we even mention it? Mamba Fever is a thing, Ross, and you know it.
Yeah.
Mamba fever is when you're at the back of the field. That's the only time you get a fever. Because the engine's by, nothing else. But, I mean, one person we've got to talk about here is Vlimo having a brilliant start and leading out 12.7 seconds. I mean, that is a impressive gap to go and pull out, especially here at Watkins Glen, because you just have to get every corner absolutely perfect. You have to get your tires right, and you have to make sure that you're not just hammering the car to pieces. By the end of the race, you're going to be shot. I've really got to take it out to get a brilliant start, get the jump on everyone. It's a incredible feat, and I think Vlimo is going to be eyeing out that alpha tier very, very soon, and hoping to move up soon out of Bravo into Alpha. And that's something I just want to touch on as well, is there is a progress system in SARCO which allows the guys to move into the different tiers. And I want to just touch on that. So Dylan, can you give us a little bit of insight into it while we take a look at Silverback and some beautiful deals of the week as well? I'm going to say there seems to be a nice replacement watch over there for you, Yaneman.
No, I've noticed them there on the left-hand side of the screen. I've actually been watching them for a while. I kind of fancy that middle one. If they can organize me a good deal on that one.
So guys, for you to find out more about these deals, you can go check out luxurytime.co.za, or even scan the QR code that is currently on your screen. That will take you directly to the WhatsApp, and you can check to Erwee from LuxuryTime, and he will just quote the word SARCO, and you will get your preferred deal of the week.
You don't have to quote the SARCO too high in octaves, though. Just normal SARCO would be fine.
Or you can say it SARCO from the top of your lungs, just so he knows that this is it was us that sent him.
Oh, that's true. That is very true. But Dylan, the progression.
Okay,
to get
so
out of Bravo into Alpha. Let's touch on that one.
I also know that Marshall has raced with us a couple of seasons. He did take a little bit of time off. So when I say that Marshall is an Alpha driver, he has the ability to do that, but because he hasn't been racing, I know that he's put in a lot of time. I've been following all those TikTok videos. He spent a lot of time trying to get the practice in. And when we had the mix-ups in terms of our stream last week, is that Marshall never got an invite. So I believe that he actually would have possibly qualified for the Alpha tier. But he said he understands that it was circumstances, but he's more than happy just to be back and racing again. And from a teammate point of view, is that Marshall actually races with Memor in their team called Chasing Beavers.
Okay. And a very familiar team while he goes side by side with Michael Koenig, Rough Riders, Chasing Beavers, Green Numbers, all of it. But, I mean, you've got him looking left and right, and the Audis just don't seem to be too happy here at Watkins Glen. That's what I'm noticing. They've got a lot of rotation in the rear, but they're not able to stabilize as quickly through the camber changes. And, Dylan, you drove the Acura around here. You know the sort of feel. Do you think the Audis have a little bit of a disadvantage coming out of the corners where it's being a little bit more snappy?
Oh, what a move. Sorry, I was waiting for that. But that's exactly how you overtake here. You get yourself on the inside. You force your opponent to back out because you're the one on the inside. Mafira, I'll take my head up to you. What a move. So coming back to your original question, because it seems like I've dodged this question 3 times.
Yeah, just a little bit, eh?
So look, the Audi for me is I drove an Audi with Jakes when we did the GT3 series. Maybe 2 years ago was the last time we drove it, so we did bring it back as a crowd favorite. And I always found that I was able to, just in terms of my style, is I had a lot of front end, put a lot of front end grip in it. But then what happens is you start adding more front and then the rear starts letting go. So you kind of drive a car that has a lot more mechanical grip, which doesn't really work. What I found works really well is you go as loose as you can, let that rear let go. And what that does is it allows you to slide the car in, and you're basically always turning in, sliding it out. And that's kind of, but my influence was through the go-karting, and that's what I thought that I wanted, where now I'll never set that car up like that again.
It's far too exciting over a race. I mean, we now to the later stages of the race. Guys are already doing their pit stops or going for those late pit stops. Michael opting lap 13 to pull in the pits and get some work done on him. But now we've got the strategies coming in. Guys have done most of their pit stops that are mandatory and looking to get back out. You're now in a stationary position. Michael Koenig so far listening to everyone coming by. And this is the worst place for a driver to be. You feel like you can't do anything.
You feel exposed.
That's it. You become a spectator without even looking at the race. You're listening to the sounds. It's a radio, and you got the like of Silverback now, who's chasing down and looking to get ahead of Michael Koenig. Will he be able to make it stick though? Michael just going. It's going to be an into turn once. I think Silverback may have just gotten ahead, but Mike has to try and come back. But I mean, what a turn of events. Silverback went and landed with that massive incident earlier, and now he's
some interesting. And this is what I love about the pit stop. It is such a great equalizer, because you just give that opportunity just to that guy just to go and fix that little damage or something that you got, and then all of a sudden you're finding yourself, here's Duncan, now he's going to be chasing down Michael.
That's it, and Duncan looking on that inside line, Michael just opting to go a bit wider, carry the Bentley through. Also a little bit slower through the bus stop where Duncan's trying to carry a bit of pace. Oh, unfortunately that front end just not working with him. And that actually seems to be a common thing for the Mercedes as it gets to this point where, you know, you've got all the grip in the world and then it just doesn't want to work with you if you push it a little bit too hard. Those tires get too hot, the pressures go up, you start wearing down those the grip on it, and that's where it becomes a little bit more of a challenging car to drive. I know, Janneman, you've got lots of experience in the Mercedes. Some input on when it reaches this phase that we got Duncan in at the moment.
Yeah, the Merc is one of those cars from experience that if your balance on the car's not right, it tends to chow those front tires. And they
rough. No.
And hits the wall when he reverses again. Oh, that's going to hurt him a lot.
Heart goes out to him on that, but that's an unfortunate thing. You twist it round and, you know, you're stuck in that situation. Whoop, and it looks like Duncan just scraping the wall there, just getting a fresh coat of paint chucked on the side.
Steve, just one other thing.
You're well caught, Duncan.
That rear of that car is sliding a bit. I've been watching Michael Koenig go around, and it's almost, you know, as if he's lost a bit of faith in the rear end of that Bentley. He slid that car around in the early stages of the race quite a lot, and it's almost as if he's backed out a bit, you know, as I said, almost losing faith in the rear end of the car. So I don't think Michael's got the balance of that Bentley quite right at this stage yet.
And that's a very technical thing that's going to be carried over the series. The guys have to get to grips with these cars. They selected them. They did the Long Beach qualifiers to, you know, get into, you know, these various classes, Alpha and Bravo. And this is where you start finding the little quirks of your car. And as you brought up, I mean, when you start losing a bit of faith in where the limits are for the car, where the grip levels are, you tend to run into mistakes. I mean, Dylan, you've had this before with the Porsches where it just didn't want to work with you on some circuits, and you back off a little bit, not wanting to break the car. You focus on survival instead of the race.
That also depends on where the fuel is it's at that stage now where your fuel's halfway through. The car's still heavy, the tires are starting to take strain. There's kind of like that, once that fuel gets below 30 liters, it lightens up, it takes off some of the stress off the tires. Then all of a sudden that car comes back to you, and it's just about you get through that phase. And once you get through that phase, you see that all of a sudden the guys start doing fastest laps because they're running the lighter tires. I mean, the lighter car, with, even though the tires are older, they're still able to make that car work.
That's it, and we've got now 75 currently sitting in the pits, second place, and he's just watching his relative, looking for our third place man, and here he is, charging around, hoping to get ahead, but it's going to be close. I honestly feel it's going to be very, very close, as he's got one more corner, then it's all about straight line, but I can see that Naf is up and going out the pits, but now he has to get the momentum going, and also those tires have cooled down quite a bit at this point, and he has to try and get a little bit of heat into them again. And I mean, this is where it gets a bit tricky. This is where that second place can slip out of your reach so quickly. that no matter what you do, it's definitely a rough ride for now. The guys are all battling it out. I think everyone's done their pit stops, and it's now an all-out slugfest till the end. 17 laps down out of this 25-lap race for our Bravo tier for the Schick Global GT3 Series, brought to you by SARCO. And there we go. We've got our on top where we can see what the gaps are looking like. But first place, man, just out and away from everyone, really conquering. I think a little bit of fire put underneath him for narrowly missing that alpha tier.
And we're at that stage now. You can see that sun starting to go down. We did start the race time at 5 o'clock. Braking points are moving. The shadows that you should not really be using as a braking point are moving, and it definitely makes things a little bit tricky. And at the same time, the track starts cooling down. So it's about adjusting your braking points and making sure that you're not locking up, because that's how you just completely ruin your tires for the rest of that race. Shot for that. So let's see, that's Nassif. Only 1 second penalty there for him. So that's some track limits. Memo, he's got 11 seconds. So that's track limits plus 1 speeding in the pits. Michael Koenig also a little speeding in the pits. And then Raphael, that would be just running a little bit too wide. Track limits a little bit too much.
That's it. And those seconds hurt you so much. But our leading place man trying to work his way around one of the Porsches that's unfortunately taken a bit of damage there. But one thing we got to point out is sunset is always a difficult thing. Doesn't matter if you're in a sim world, doesn't matter if you're in real life racing. When that sun hits you in the windscreen, it is blinding. You have to remember where the corner is. And I know a lot of these guys, they've got their rigs set up. They've got the screens up close. They're running on the highest frames possible that they can do. And it is ultra bright. And you're guessing where that apex is. I know, Janneman, you've been in the receiving end of this where it's actually hurt you in SARCO. You were leading, you were in a very tight race. Looks like you were leading a pack at one point. Sunset came, and trying to discover where the corners that were there originally, they're just a little bit further up the road. You actually landed up on the dirt. Take us through what the drivers are going to physically be seeing in their cars right now.
Oh!
Yeah, a little bit of sideways action there. Yeah, well, Steve, I missed. That's a long story short. No.
So was die pedal, ek het hom gemis.
Yeah, no, I missed. When the sun hits your eyes, a lot of the times you can barely see anything. So you find yourself looking at the side of the track for something familiar, where to brake. And when in practice you get into a rhythm, so you get into a flow of the track. But the sun is definitely distracting, and it takes a small distraction to miss that braking point, or in my case to brake too early, and you turn too early or you turn too late, and that's the end of that story.
There's our race leader going into the pits and just catching up on some of the comments there. And Janneman, I actually cannot agree with you anymore. It's like absolutely spot on. We've got Brandon DeSantos saying, don't forget the Rough Riders. And then we got Mr. Adrian Bond himself saying, what's up? Oh, got it. Sorry. Adrian, I know that you're the emoji king, but where's your punctuation? It's like, what's up? Pause. Damn, the stream is looking good. Thank you so much, Adrian. He's there drinking his coffee. And we got Brandon from LuxuryTime Racing. Good evening, all. Brandon, welcome to the SARCO stream. Tyron Marburg saying, Dylan, do you guys have a PC league together yet? Interesting question. There may be something brewing in the background. Tyron, watch this space. For real this time. I promise you, for real this time.
Watch the social media. There is lots to come, ladies and gentlemen, and you don't want to miss it.
So now that our race leader has done his, he's in the pits now. You can see Nassif is 43 seconds behind. So he is going to be closing up. But where is Marshall? Okay, so Marshall is currently on his way out. Oh, there he is there. Okay, I've just spotted him. There we go.
He's out and about and opening that gap. But what a dominating lead so far. 5 laps to go, though. He has to keep it all together. And this is where it gets a little bit interesting. You can't actually just go and sit back and relax. You've really got to keep your fingers on the pulse at this point, because one mistake can cost you the race. One mistake, one slide, one touch of the wall. And that's all it takes, because there is no room to pit now. None. That's it. Pit stops are over. Any damage that you sustain now, you've got to carry it all the way through to the end. And that's something that rattles off in your mind, that you're constantly thinking, I can't make a mistake. I can't make a mistake. All these drivers right down the field got the same thing through their head. We cannot make a mistake. One mistake now, we carry it to the end. Flat spot those tires. Break that front splitter. Damage that rear wing.
So here's an interesting question for you, and this happened to me in the last race that we did at Circuit of Americas. Is I was catching my teammate, and Jean was like, listen, that he's not fighting anyone, do you want to overtake? And I said yes, because what happens is you get into a rhythm, and as soon as you start slowing down to take it easy, that's where you start making the mistakes. But if you in that rhythm and you're hitting that 95% of your lap after lap after lap after lap, that's where you don't make the mistakes. But it's at this stage where you go, okay, I'm going to take it easy. Then all of a sudden it's, missed my braking point. Locked up. That's where it gets dangerous. What do you think about that?
Absolutely agree with you on that one. I mean, I've also found it when I try and take stuff easy, I tend to make mistakes. Whereas you just stay in that rhythm and continue lap after lap, doing exactly the same thing over and over and over again. You know, that's where you've got the least chance of making a mistake. So I say carry on as normal and hope you don't stuff this up.
100%. I'm glad you used that word, because guys, remember, we are code coconuts. So if you're watching this stream, give us some coconuts on the chat, and say that we are definitely a family-friendly channel.
But also, guys, share the link with your family and friends and anyone that can listen or watch. We appreciate the support. I know we want to spread the action far and wide, and if you guys are interested to come race, go and let us know, and go let us know at SARCO that you want to come race. Go and get project cars. I know it is on special, and you can come and have a great time out here with the drivers and test your might. Whether you're going to be the top of Bravo, or maybe you can be the top of Alpha tier, which we're going to be seeing shortly. They're going to be coming out next for their race, and I know a couple of guys are more than excited, and one person that's currently focusing on all the action right now, he's also eyeing out his rig and thinking, alright, I have got to do this, that, next thing, and also making sure that the windows are closed, the doors closed, no one's going to be around. Even the missus is 4 rooms down the passageway. Stephen, how are you feeling? It's getting closer. It's going to happen. Round 1 for the Alphas.
Yeah, it's. I was okay until you started mentioning like how many laps there were. I saw that, and yeah, the nerves are like starting to like pile up. So, but yeah, I'll be fine. I'll just have a slip of some Coke, and I should be fine.
Well, that's it, and you've got to make sure that every move is a clean shave as you go by. But I see we had one disconnect as well.
Yeah.
But big thank you to our main sponsor, Schick, who's saying Beyond the Blade, and they're coming out with a new Hydro 5 series, which I know there is a pack going out to the guys as a little prize. They're getting all sorts of lucky goodies from our sponsors, which is fantastic. I love to see the guys jumping on board. And a lot of new sponsors jumping into the racing scene. I mean, Schick, LuxuryTime Racing, Bulldog, and NAG has been around for some of the esports racing. But we've also, looks like we've got Memo in the pits. He's in 3rd place. Michael Koenig cruising by. He's hoping to steal that away. Can Michael
Oh my
rob?
gosh, this is going to be close.
And looking at it, is Michael Koenig going to get by? Does
He
so,
has.
but now he's got to keep it together. And we're talking about close shaves. I don't think you can get any closer than 3rd place. This either is a a steal of a century that's going to happen right now, or it's gonna be just absolute sadness if something goes wrong. Michael Koenig really trying to pull away now. Remember, who's now reversing a little bit to try and get out of his box. But here comes Duncan. Duncan now charging. Remember, battling.
I don't know what's happened
It looks
there.
like he's not into that box.
Yeah, I think he might be in the wrong box. Wow. Title of this X tape.
That's it.
Ouch.
I mean, when you miss it out that much, it's
Sorry guys, that was so offsides. Apologies.
well, you got to have a bit of fun out there. I mean, these are the same guys that gave you a difficult time while you were racing, and even as an admin perspective, getting a stab there once or twice. But
So guys, unfortunately we got Mafira that came onto our Discord saying that he disconnected. Mafira, absolutely great race there. So unfortunate. Marius just asking for the invite, and Mem was just disconnected as well. How is that even possible?
Memo
I
out
think
of it.
something went wrong with Memo.
He ran out of fuel. Oh my goodness.
Out of fuel. Oh my word. And that absolutely killed off his race completely. Now we got the likes of SC Jim 89 having a bit of fun out there. He's in the Hot Wheels Mercedes, and I gotta say, looking very spiffy as he chases down Silverback just ahead of him.
And that's for position. There's only 2 laps left. Well,
he's fighting. This is a driver that was sitting way back at the field at the start and was slowly climbing his way up. Now that the pit stops have happened, now that the disconnects have kicked in, he's looking to move further up. He can get out of that 6th place, get into the top 5, and be rather happy with it, which maximizes the points going into round number 2. And also has a couple of the alpha guys looking right back at him, saying, listen, this is one driver we got to keep an eye out for. And sporting the 71 number on the side of the car, looking to get rid of the 7 and put a straight number 1.
So guys, we are about 6 minutes away from the start of the Bravo tier. We will do the drivers' interviews once we go into the lobby. We do want to just hang on to this just until we end off. We can see that Marshall's on lap 24, so 4 minutes away, and we will definitely go into the Alpha tier. We got some coconuts from Ross and coconuts from Adrian. Thank you very much. And Stevie, it looks like we're going to get a Rebellion who's going to be joining us next week, Monday.
Oh, wonderful.
He did say that he wants to come and join a PC League. He's painful playing on a single monitor now. Well, jeez, talk about... what's it? What? Oh, no! Oh, no. So that's Julian, our host. That is not going to work out well for him. Oh, you can see going into the brakes, no downforce. Just hope that he can see Marshall coming, and Marshall flicks up behind him.
Oh man, that is just gutting. I mean, he was doing so well, but we pointed out that one mistake can make or break it. And unfortunately, that GT3 car now looking like its road-going counterpart. And a bit heartbreaking out there. But we have to point out, here comes Duncan into 4th place. He's charging around, got a little bit of damage on that right-hand front, so he's got only one light working, which blends in when you're driving on the N1. That's similar to what you see some of the cars driving in the middle of the road as. But having a great time. Duncan had a difficult fight to get into 4th place. It wasn't an easy drive for him. While our leader is on the last lap as well, looking to win it out for round number 1 of the Schick Global GT3 Series in the Bravo tier. And what a race it has been for him. From start to finish at this point, it has been a flawless drive. And I have to take my hat off to the Lamborghini driver. Kept it all together. 1 corner to go. Gets on the power. And you can be sure that hands are up in the air. The excitement is going and says, listen,
yes,
guys,
Marshall,
here I come.
Well
First
driven
place
there.
is mine.
Well driven. Absolutely fantastic effort there. And it just shows that all Marshall's TikTok videos of him practicing have definitely paid off. pulled a gap from the start, kept that rhythm, kept going, and that's you can see 44 seconds is the gap between himself and Nassif, who's currently in second place. A great drive there for Nassif as well in that Ferrari, and I'm pretty sure that Danielle Swanepoel is very, very happy with her driver of choice, saying Marshall whoop with a little harki there, so I'm sure she's very happy, and I'm sure Marshall will be happy to see the support coming through. Ross did say that the Alpha tier is starting to assemble, so we'll get our invites. So, I have seen my invite come through, so Stevie, once you're ready, you can jump off, get yourself a race ready. I'm sure myself and Stephen Koenig and Janeman can take it from here.
Good luck, Stephen, and no pressure, mate.
No
It's
pressure,
all
you know
about
why?
keeping her out of the wall.
We'll be
Thanks,
watching.
mate.
We'll be watching.
Thanks, eh? Cheers, boys.
I think that's the worst, when you have a bunch of commentators saying, don't worry, we'll be watching you. You're like, oh, great, I'm going to
Yeah.
get all the curses chucked on me. But Nassif coming in that second place, Michael Koenig with the robber, the Century, and also getting ahead of the Porsche, running out of fuel right at the end there. I mean, that's heartbreaking, but Michael Koenig going to be happy with that. Duncan in fourth place ahead of Silverback MTB. What a fight it has been, and rather exciting to see it. I mean, Bravo tier putting on a fantastic show. Alpha tier's got a lot to live up for now when they're going to be starting their race a few moments. But ladies and gentlemen, please share the link. Go and share. We are broadcasting on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. There is no reason to miss all the fun of the Schick Global GT3 Series in association with NAG, Bulldog Skincare, and also LuxuryTime Racing. So, LuxuryTime Pieces. They also got their racing team as well. That's why I got a little bit confused there. But rather exciting. There is our finishing. And take a look at that. Michael Koenig only doing 24 laps despite being in third place. And that really tells you how far ahead Nassif and Marshall were by the end of it.
No, absolutely fantastic. So, guys, we are just going to wait for Marshall, Nassif, and Michael to join us in the Discord. So while we're doing that, we will be back in a couple of minutes, just so we can do the quick changeovers. But we'll be back. Just give us a few minutes. Thank you very much.
right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and we have got first, second, and third with us. As you can see on camera, taking first place. I'm going to start there because it was an incredible jump. You've worked hard to be, climbing to the top. First place, Marshall, how are you feeling, buddy?
Good to be back, man. It's been a while. I think 2 years, 1.5 years that I haven't been racing with the guys, so it feels good to be back.
And putting in some impressive times. I mean, from the start line, you had the jump on the rest of the field. How did you find Watkins Glen for the Lamborghini?
Very, very nice track to drive. It's actually one of my favorite tracks, this in Spa. So I did have a little bit of practice during the week, but not a lot. But yesterday I got some good practice in, so I played around with the tires, and it seems like the hards were the way to go. Bit difficult to switch on, but once they're on, they go so well, man.
They're difficult to turn off at that point. But second place, who was chasing you down, and gotta love the Ferrari. Nassif, how are you feeling with that? Your mic's currently muted, so you might want to unmute that one. But second place and the only Ferrari in the Bravo field. How are you feeling, buddy? Lots of hard work there. We don't seem to be getting the audio from you, so I think the microphone is not 100%. Can you hear us? Unfortunately, we're not getting it through. While he's busy with that, but Nassif, well done. It was a great run. You drove hard with the Ferrari. Lots of hard work there. Really had to push that Ferrari out of its comfort zone to try and make up the ground. It wasn't an easy thing, and I know next time you're going to be charging even harder after Marshall. You guys have seen what you guys can do, especially here at Watkins Glen. Now moving on to the next race, but wow, well done. You guys managed to complete all 25 laps and leaving third place Michael Koenig. Mike, how are you feeling? You jumped into the car. You had a battle behind you. You actually had a 5-car train at one point. First time around Watkins Glen with this battle. What's going through your mind? You managed to move up through the grid.
Yeah, well, it was... Yeah, I'd never done Watkins Glen. The one lap in qualifying was the first time ever. So it was cool. Like, I had no pit strategy, so I didn't know when to pit and whatever, and I just went until it told me I'm running out of fuel. I don't know what tires I was on. So, however, I got into third, fair credit, and those actually won. I mean, they're clearly playing with strategy and setup. I was on standard setup and stuff, so well done to them. I probably shouldn't have come third, but I'll take it. Yeah, it was cool. I haven't played with SARCO. I think it's been 2 years as well, so got lots to get used to.
That's it, and I've got to say, absolutely incredible. E was obviously for enough when the car gave out, but I mean, I'm gonna chuck it right back. Marshall, we got Alpha Tier going out. Do you have any words for the Alpha Tier drivers for their first time around Watkins Glen for round number 1 of the Schick GT3 Global Championship? Since you've already taken the honors.
If in doubt, flat out. Marius knows the drill.
Absolutely. And guys, congratulations from my side. I mean, incredible racing. Yanaman, anything you want to say to our podium here?
No, Steve, I think you've pretty much said it. I just want to say well done to everyone. It was an awesome race to watch. Some very close racing. Well done to the top 3. Now we move on to Alpha Tier and see what those guys can dish out around Watkins Glen.
That's it. And the man that's suffering from Mamba fever because he's sitting behind the steering wheel but not quite out there, and was chomping at the bit to go chasing after all 3 of you. Dylan, anything from your side? All right. Dylan's getting himself going there. But guys, well done. Absolutely amazing, and we can't wait to see what you're going to do. Round number 2 next week, and it is all on the line for every single one of you. No one's comfortable. We know Bravo's close. We know the times are going to be incredibly close. Different choice of cars. We've got a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, and a Bentley standing on the podium currently. My mind is totally blown from that. While I've got you guys here, we've got a bit of a difference in cars. Marshall, Lamborghini, where was the hardest point for that car?
The hardest point for me was the last 3 turns. I struggled with them, especially in the beginning and at the end of the race when the tires went down. I just couldn't make them as I used to, like in the middle of the race. I had to slow down much more. But other than that, the car was great, especially through the chicane. That was my favorite part.
Nassif, I just saw that you were going and nodding in approval of, yes, that was the difficult part. You had to go and play a lot of evasive action there that could have cost you your second place. You really worked hard, and I'm sure there is indentations on your steering wheel for a couple of moments that were rather sketchy, but I mean, incredible to take the Ferrari there. So just with a bit of sign language, was it turn 1, 2, or 3 that made you really get to grips with the car? Because it seemed like one of those corners was just where you got the power out. Turn 3, so heading out through the S's. And I mean, well, it's either 3 or look for the finger for Marshall's side. It could be both. I'm not 100% sure there. Michael, the Bentley, you guys were rubbing paint a lot. You were touching the wall. It seemed like turn 9 was a bit of a difficult corner for you. Weren't able to get the power on. You were going a bit far out wide. Was that the toughest point for the Bentley? It just didn't seem to have the turn in.
Well, look, bricks often don't turn very well. So, yeah, it's funny enough, on the older the tires got, the better the car became. So, because you can slide it and move it, otherwise it just understeered off. So I think it was just lack of setup. But the Bentley definitely doesn't have around the twisty bits what the others have. Well, not with me driving. Maybe with one of these front runners driving, they can drive it quicker.
Oh, let's see as the series progresses, and the season going to be a bit tricky as you guys move on into round number 2. I know from this point forward, it's all on the line. You guys got to see what everyone's capable of. You're going to be watching the Alpha tier going out and seeing what they can do. You guys narrowly missed it. I mean, you guys got within 0.2 of a second in times to Alpha tier. With all the practice going on, all the excitement, it's really going to be interesting. Janneman, I mean, from your side to you've raced against the likes of a Lamborghini, a Ferrari, and you've also driven the Bentley. With these 3 drivers currently with us, I'm sure there's lots of thoughts of what were the choice of setups or something. Anything from your side, Janneman, that you want to ask our top 3 for round number 1?
No, most definitely. I think they are going to get quicker as the season goes along, as they start, building the car around them. As Michael said, he was on a baseline setup, and on a Bentley, that's a very difficult thing to do. But, as I said, they're only going to get quicker from here as they start building those cars to suit them even more and suit their driving style even more. It's generally a thing that you see as a season progresses, and I predict that the racing is going to get even closer as we go along.
That's it, and I know we got Marcel, who's currently trying to figure out what's the next TikTok. We've got Nassif, who's busy thinking, okay, what's going to be the idea for the Ferrari? How is he going to get a little bit quicker? Marcel, any hints of what your next move is going to be, or have we got to keep an eye out on social media? And Nassif, I know you're busy eyeing out things here. You're a silent killer waiting to go. Microphone isn't working right now, but you're just analyzing all the information. So I'm going to ask our first place. Any ideas going into round 2?
Just working on setup, man. Setup in this game is very important, and practice. If you don't practice the tracks, you're not going to get down those times. So, and consistency is key. 40 minutes is long for the people watching, thinking it's easy to race like this for 40 minutes. It's not easy. You have to concentrate continuously for 40 minutes without making a mistake, and just keep knocking in those times consistently. And you need to watch out for the guys at the back or in front you saw how many incidents there were that we had to evade. If you don't watch the minimap, you're gonna hit something or somebody, or if you don't watch the time, somebody might creep up on you and you don't even know about it. So yeah, it's a
There's
lot.
the
It's a
eyes
lot
of
of things.
Nassif looking behind, going, keep an eye, keep
Yeah,
an eye. He's getting excited there.
yeah, it's a lot of things going on at once, and you have to push buttons on the steering wheel, select pit strategy, when to come in. So yeah, anything can happen. Like I think some of the guys got pit penalties because they didn't concentrate maybe, or they pressed the wrong button. Because all of those things need to happen within the race, and with you keeping that same speed, same focus the whole time. So practice for those guys that didn't practice the first one, and setup. That's the key thing. Setup is the key thing. You need to work on that.
Now we also talk about the interesting stuff in terms of the gear. I know Nag is busy watching it. You know, a lot of people think that you've got 200,000 rand sim rigs. You've got this mind-boggling amount that's been stuck into it, but guys are racing on some normal things, and you got your cameras open. So I would actually love to see what you guys see when you're behind the steering wheel. I mean, Nassif, I can just see the steering wheel of yours. If you swing it round, I'm sure that we'll be able to see what you're using as he goes and shows. And there it is, just at a table, got a G29 geared up, ready to go. Another G29 is our first place man, Marshall, who's also running there, just hooked to a table, got himself comfortable. I mean, you don't have to have these super big rigs. You don't have to have the 14,000 rand seats, the 20,000 rand steering wheel. I know Michael Koenig is running a Thrustmaster T150, and there it is, already wrapped up in plastic. It's going to be shipped off for round number 2. He's done and dusted. But that shows you that you don't have to have the best of the best, the alley rigs, and still put in a fantastic performance. It's just down to the pure practice of everyone. And I mean, this is what it is. You guys aren't on direct drives. You're not on the Fanatics. You're on the basics as they seem fit. But you guys are putting in a fantastic performance out there. For anyone that's striving to get into racing, especially here at SARCO, for the Project Cars series, for the Schick Global GT3 series, I want to get to your idea, and I'm going to pass it to our lead man. I'd love to say to Asif, please, we would love to hear your voice. And actually, for round number 2, I'm going to get you back on comms. I want to hear you. I want to hear the big man who really put it out there. So big thank you there. I know that you got the family around you as well. But Marshall, any words of wisdom from your side, since you've been sticking a lot of practice in, for the guys thinking out there that want to join? What's the advice that you can give?
Yeah, start off small. Like you said, you don't need expensive rigs and stuff like that, because it's not always the rig that makes the driver. It all goes down to practice every day, because that's what we do. Some of us are married, some of us have kids, but we just make that little bit of time just to get a few laps in, work on the setup, stuff like that. So practice is key. Yeah, and like you said, you don't need expensive racing rig equipment to start doing it. And SARCO is a big family. We're a big bunch of guys racing together for a long time now, and it's a nice community. And we all like the coconuts. Yeah.
That's it. And I know Janneman's busy looking. He progressed from the SARCO into the PC side of racing, and lots to come. I know you guys are hanging on the social media waiting for what's next, and whether we're going to have the PC league starting to creep out of the wings, but it is a possibility. Are we going to have more categories racing? Are we going to see single seaters? Are we going to see rally stages? There's a lot that have been circling around, lots of rumors to have been coming out, but the only way you can find out is by keeping an eye on our social media. And this is where it gets rather exciting. So for you guys, I know the Bravo tier, you guys we've held you in the box here for a long time. We've held you hostage. I do apologize for that. No, I'm going to be realistic. It's been an absolute joy having you guys here. We'll hold you hostage again. But from my side, thank you very, very much. And ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for our Bravo first, second, and third for round number 1 of our Schick Global GT3 Series. We'll see you guys heading into round 2. Thanks for sticking around.
Okay.
Well done.
Yeah. Been exciting. I know Dylan is back in the box. Dylan, I mean, this is just amazing stuff with the guys really putting in the effort, the work out here, and having our top really duke it out. Also, on more the simplistic rigs that we see connected to a table, having a jaw, keeping the kids away, and maybe keeping some flavored water on the side for after the race.
Yeah.
There's a lot of laughing there, guys. Something we need to know about. Dylan, anything from your
The
side?
water is definitely close by.
The water is never far away, guys. Come on. And it is water. So, look, I've been behind the scenes now for the last, we're sitting 20 minutes now. And I don't know what's going on, but every time I try and get into the lobby, I just get kicked out, just clashing with all the people. And I spend so much time with my ISP, making sure that we don't have these issues. And just as I thought that it's all been sorted, I unfortunately have the same problem that we had for the qualifiers. I've now loaded up Chase's machine, and I am still clashing with just about half the field.
Oh, unfortunately, technology comes to that point, but I think we can say cheerio to our podium for the Bravo guys. Thank you very much, guys, for all the hard work. We're looking forward to round number 2, seeing what you guys will be able to do. And I know our sponsors are eyeing out those packs of what to put in, and maybe the win is not going to be as close as a shave as you think. It's going to be a little bit...
I was waiting for that one.
Keep an eye on that. I know Nassif right there is going, yep, you keep going, I'm coming. That Ferrari is going to chase down the bucking Bronco, and Michael Koenig is busy figuring out whether Big Ben actually can turn the clock and keep going. So the big Boatley. So thank you very much, guys, for you three. You're more than happy to go and join the families. I know it's been a long night for you guys, and we look forward to seeing what you can do come next week for round number 2. But despite all the technical difficulties that go on, our Alpha Tier will be continuing their race. We will get the results out on the social media, and we will be frantically working behind the scenes to try and get it up and going, and also try and get some form of either a recording or something out to you guys. Don't stress. We are working to get it all sorted out. But Janneman, I mean, you came from SARCO. You left your home. You've now returned in the commentary box. How does it feel are you missing going and booting up that PlayStation and against the amazing competitors you got out here?
Yeah, when they showed those pictures of those G29s, it brings some fond memories back. I started off with a G29 as well.
Solid.
And as you mentioned earlier, I progressed from there, but it's awesome memories to see these guys racing. I've raced against Marshall many years ago. I think 2 years ago I raced against Marshall, and as he said, this is a family. It's worlds apart from the outright competitive championship racing that we have now, and it's definitely something I miss. It brings a smile to the face.
And that's it, and really excited with it. And I know Michael Koenig with that E150 that has some form of feedback. He was originally on something that didn't have any force feedback, and the first thing I said is throw that out as fast as possible. I mean, these are things that have really worked well. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait for round number 2. It is going to be interesting. I know Alpha Tier, Dylan's working behind the scenes to try and get it up and going. And ladies and gentlemen, grab yourself some popcorn, grab something to drink, and we'll see you guys for round number 2, and also for the start of our Alpha Tier. We're doing everything we can behind the scenes, But I'm going to say cheerio to our first place man, Marshall. Well done. We can't wait to see the TikToks. Nassif, well done. Ferrari.
Cheers,
I
guys.
believe there was Muppets originally for the Formula One team, but you've proved me wrong that the GT3 still have the best there. Thank you so much. You restored my faith in it. Michael choosing the Boatley. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks, guys. You go.
Oh, Nassif, yes.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Always-
Yes.
I will.
But we want to hear from you guys in the chat. What did you think of that race? I mean, it was phenomenal. There was lots of moments that it could go anywhere. It could be anyone's ball game. We want to hear from you guys. What do you think of it? And, thank you very much. We've got to also say a big thanks to our sponsors, Schick, for going and being our primary sponsor, LuxuryTime also being there and keeping us on the clock the whole time. Also to Bulldog, making sure that we've got the right shine in the face. I know Dylan right there has just got the light just perfect, the model sort of look. And then also to Nag, which I'm currently looking at their site because everyone's got to love a bit of gaming information, also a bit of electronic information, and lots to come out from all our sponsors. And a big thank you to it. Remember, use code SARCO when you go for LuxuryTime, and also for Schick. Let them know that we sent you from SARCO to the guys. All the support helps. We get a little bit of a backing from it, and everyone goes home happy. I know we finally got Janneman on the screen. There he is.
Yeah, in the bright sunshine.
In the bright sunshine. That's it. We talk about having the sun of the sim racing in his face. Well, there's exactly our case. The monitors are too bright. We use monitors, we use TVs. These are guys putting in lots of work to do it. And, Dylan, with all of this going on, SARCO going bigger and better. I'm holding the table. I'm ready. But I know Dylan has got a big... Dylan's got a big smile on his face because he's got a Ferrari steering wheel chilling in the back. That's going and saying, "Well, we got second place." That's it. That's it. He's got the steering wheel there. Some of the buttons are not in working order, but it's more of a mantelpiece. But try push the center ones. I dare you. I dare you. Use those rotary encoders. The F1 wheel. Yep. Yeah, go use those as rotary encoders, but it looks stunning. I mean, we've got to just point out here, our 3 cars that came, first, second, and third. We had the Raging Bull of a Lamborghini. Great rotation, really works. We heard from Marshall saying that the last 3 corners, it got difficult to go, but the harder tires worked in the favor. It was a lot more set up. It could move through the corners a bit easier once those tires kicked in. But it was once the tires kicked in. There's the gamble for taking those hard tires. We had Nassif, who also said the last 3 corners, that's where the Ferrari struggled. He agreed. So there's a little bit of a reoccurring thing here. From turn 9 right to our last corner, that's where the challenge is. And that's where we saw a lot of our incidents where the guys just had too much understeer and there's no room for any mistakes there. I mean, the guys careening into the wall and having to try and do it. And that's where we saw some heartbreaking moments as well for the likes of Killer D, who went understeered, got into the wall, turned around, reversed, and trying to get out of the way of the competitors, trying to get away from the guys so they can get through, landed up taking a bit of damage to his car. Dylan, your thoughts on it? Oh, I said just an Asif, and I forgot he was the director. I got too excited, and he was. That's it. Janneman. You need the bing bong when we're like when you go into the stores. That bing bong. Massive. Please report to aisle 3.
Please report to the score.
There we go. And we've got our director with us. Nassif, I'm not sure if your microphone is working. No, he's going to try.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Second place, man. I can finally ask, how are you feeling after your race?
Can you hear me?
Yes. How are you feeling after the race?
Awesome. Nerves is finished.
That's it. And going to be our director. And actually can give us a little bit of an insight of what the drivers are going to be feeling for our Alpha tier as they're going to be taking their way around Watkins Glen. And Nassif, you said the last 3 corners were the difficult ones there. What are these drivers going to be working on? What's going to be racking through the minds now that they watched you guys go out? You were the guinea pigs, essentially. Now the pressure's on them. And this is where they sat tinkering with the cars. We know Steven said, no ways, I'm not touching my setup because I'm going to touch it and go into a wall.
And Steven's right.
And after seeing what you guys went through, maybe the tyre choice changes.
Yeah, the first few laps is quite tricky. The tires takes a bit of a while to come in, so just be cautious the first few laps. Bring the tires in with caution. Final sector is quite difficult for some, I don't know. And later on during the race, with the sun setting in your eyes as you're taking the final corners, hard to get that braking mark.
That's it. And Janneman, you've got your big giant screen in front of you, giving you all rays of sunshine at the moment. These drivers, this is a class that you actually played around with. Dylan, you also were in this class not too long ago. Before this series, you guys were involved with it. Now jumping in, I mean, this is where it gets rather exciting for you guys. We've got Tyler Scott out there. He's looking to make a very name, been a big support of the series. We've also got number 47 PB out there. That's one I do actually remember because you'd never remember the name.
So what I'll do is I'll just run through the names there, and this has always been a comment that I've had, is it's very difficult to be the commentator, because not only do you learn the guy's actual name, is that you learn their PS name, and then you also got to learn the 3 letters of their first name.
That's it. So
at the top we've got Ross. Then this is where it gets tricky, because we've got Brandon DeSantos and we've got Brandon Hills. Brandon almost not making it, but he spent some time with his internet service provider. Then we've got Terry Wolford. We've got Stephen. Another problem we're going to have. I've just noticed if you look at number 4 and number 10, that's Stefan and Stephen. So Stefan is a new driver that has joined us. We've got Marius in number 6. So you can see that he's holding back, and so is Dirkie. And I think these guys are definitely playing a smart game here, because once these guys are going out, they're going to lay some rubber, and it's going to allow the likes of Marius and Dirkie to take advantage of that extra grip on the track. We've got Robert Stoltz in 7th place, then Dirkie, then it's either Brandon or Brandon, one of the maybe the fastest hills on the planet. I actually did see Vaughan Hills joining us, and he's saying let's go, so yes, he is here. Then we've got Iris, and that's Reese Wolford. And hold on, we got our Thunder Tinder back. I'm just going to find my phone so I can remove those off our feed.
But a lot of names that you would remember, and also a lot of names that you would relate to some real world racing coming out and joining in SARCO. So a lot of I want to actually touch on this while the guys are going around. Gentlemen,
Yes.
the bring in, from guys that are doing the racing in real life, coming into the sim world, getting a bit of practice in there, and using this as a platform to jump forward, but having to duke it out. I mean, you've got Tyler Scott, he's won a championship in the SARCO series, looking to try and charge it out to the front. I mean, this is brilliant. This is what we want to see. More real world drivers coming into the sim racing world, coming into this SARCO Schick Global GT3 Series and testing their metal out. It's something a little bit more challenging, and we challenge the drivers to do it. Gentlemen, your thoughts. You are a sim racer. You've never climbed into a race car. Give us your thoughts of squaring up with the likes of, you've got the hills in there.
Oh, gee, thanks, Steve. Just saying I've never gotten into a real race car. But yes, I've had a lot of discussions, not just with you, with Terry Wilford, and even with Tyler at one point. It's a totally different thing, sim racing to real world racing. And real world racing, they say you drive by the seat of your pants because you can feel in the seat what the car is doing underneath you. In sim racing, everything comes through the steering wheel, and we have seen it more often than not that real world racers tend to struggle in sim racing because they don't have the feel of the car underneath them. But to race at this type of level in both sim and real world, that really says something about the quality of the drivers.
That's it, and it's rather exciting to see it out there. And as we keeping eyes on Tyler Scott, he completed his Super Pole lap. I know a lot of the guys are just trying to get it all over and dust. We'll see they're actually in the pits. That means they've sorted out their Super Poles. They got one lap to make it or break it, and well, that's where the difficulty comes in, is making or breaking it to climb up through the ranks here. Rather exciting to see it. And it also changes up from the usual qualifying of put as many laps as you can, one of them will be right. This puts it down to you've got one lap to make it, one lap to just get it right to the top there. And I know this is a fairly newer format for the SARCO series in SARCO, and we're glad to see it coming out for the Schick Global GT3 Series. And the madman who decided this, Dylan, I mean, what made you decide one lap?
So the whole idea is... hold on, I'm getting some feedback here. I don't know if it's coming from you there, Stephen. And testing 1, 2. Yes, it's coming from you.
Oh, that's a bit strange. Okay, I'll sort that out.
So the whole idea is we want, it's coming from your PC, because I'm seeing that you're flickering. Check it out.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Go for it.
How do I scroll through the drivers?
So just this button here. So you're gonna R1 like this. You can go this way or this way, and then it's gonna go to the menu on the side, and you can scroll up and down.
Okay, got it.
That should be a little bit better now.
Let's try that. It is better, yes.
Okay. Do apologize to all our viewers out there. Technical fun things with headsets. Sometimes they play nice with you. Sometimes they prefer to listen to other people's singing voices.
So then, if we can just jump onto Marius, just so we can check him, because I know that he would possibly, both him and Dirkie would be out on the track.
Just taking a look at
There we
go. A lot of Mercs out there, but Marius in the fighting Cadillac, and it's nice to see the old caddy getting some love out there. Marius is a big fan of this caddy, and I've got to say, Dylan, gentlemen, you guys have actually versed this caddy and had some difficulty getting around it, despite it being not a current GT3 car that races. It's been a very striking one to get by, because they've made sure that it's just wide enough that you can't get around it too easily.
Well, catching is one thing, and we'll just leave it with that with Morris. I would rather defend against Morris than try and catch him, because Morris is the type of driver that once he gets out there, gets his head down, and that's it. It is very difficult to catch him. Whereas if you're able to defend, not that it happens often, but you know, there are times where Morris has made a mistake. He does get some frustrated a little bit, and that would be the only time that you're actually going to be able to attack. But to try and chase him down, it's never an easy feat. But we see Durkee going top there, just out qualifying Robert by 0.03 of a second. But it's all going to come down to Morris as he now comes out of turn number 9. You can hear pretty flat out, a little lift there through turn 10, gear down into third, and straight back onto that power as soon as he can, as he comes to the line, and will cross the line with a 3.0, so you can see 0.23 off that pace. So obviously just not able to get those tires to work for him. Yanaman, that feedback is actually coming from you. Apologies, Stephen.
This is coming from me now.
Yeah.
Let me quickly have a look.
And there we go, another Audi lurking. But I've got to say, a great choice of vehicles we're sitting out there. We've got the Mercedes, we've got the Audi. It seems to be a big favorite. It has to be the Mercedes and the Audi. Not many people going for the Ferrari, not many people going for the likes of our Cadillac, even the Bentley being one that's not too favored out there. Is this something that you're surprised to see, Dylan? A lot of guys going for front engines, but there's one car we don't get to see too often.
And that's the Chappie's Cadillac.
That is very, very interesting to see out there. Speaking, there's a Ferrari, but as the qualifying session is over, Dylan, are you surprised of the car choices that guys have gone for?
So look, the guys obviously have gone for, I'd say, a fan favorite. We've also got the Lamborghini that Ross is driving. I know that Ross did that a season with Jacques Vermeulen. So he's got the setups and wants to be competitive. I can't see who that is. Stand by. Wrong one. In 10th place. Okay, so that's Stefan, who's in the Lamborghini, in the Ferrari. Is that a Ferrari? It looks like it in 10th place.
That's an Audi. That's an Audi. We saw it a little bit earlier. Q Silver 73 in the Audi R8 LMS GT3. And looking to run away with that pole position. Will he get the start that we saw in Brava tier? Mario sitting in 3rd place and Skoltz in 2nd place chasing him down. So they're going to be a bit interesting into turn 1. 3 drivers that know each other all too well.
So I did speak to Terry before we started racing when we saw the livery that he was using. And he did say to me, you know, there was a comment that was passed to say, well, look, you're in the Chappie's paper. So I promised him that every evening I will give you at least one did you know fact, which was, if you think about this, the original Google.
The original Google. That
is actually true, yes. But it didn't always give to you what you searched for, though.
Correct. You were just given the random pieces of information.
That's it. It gives you the general knowledge that you needed to pass that general knowledge test, but not the math test that you were waiting for.
No.
So did you know that the Chappie's brand of bubblegum was introduced in South Africa in 1940?
A little bit before my time.
And how's that for a did you know? Straight off the bat.
That's a little bit before my time, but then I'm going to chuck a did you know, and let's see if our drivers will be able to do it. Did you know that Aldo Peretti in 2019 for the Watkins Glen GT World Challenge America round did a 144.2 in a Bentley GT3 Continental?
That's
Let's
incredible.
see whether our guys can beat that out.
So we know that there might be a little 141 we have seen that in the practice, so interesting to see.
That would put them in the pace of an LM GTE car, which has no traction control. Can I just point? It's got no ABS, because this was the early days of the GTE class, and that was in the Chevrolet Corvette C7R, not even the C9 or the C7, the newer C7 that was in the GTE C7, which got retired out after the race because it blew its engine as it got into the pits. They ran it a little bit too hot. It scored its fastest lap, and unfortunately left its piston sitting on the side of the road. But if again to that 141, they're going to be driving these GT3s as fast as a GTE car. That means they will be cruising around with a car that has more aerodynamic advantage, sucks it down to the circuit. You're also going to have versing a car that has 200 plus horsepower over these GT3 cars. But that really shows the talent of our sim racers, where they're able to go and find just that absolutely perfect point on the circuit and in the coding that you're able to carry it through to get that fastest pace. And I mean, that's just mind-boggling. But one car a little bit further back there is the Ascari. Take a look at that. The Ascari sitting at the back right behind Steven, who is in the Ferrari. So one car that you said that won't be doing the passing, well, it's sitting there, it's waiting, it's lurking, and we can't wait to see what you will be able to do with it. Marius in third place, looking to try and get the jump on our front two.
Nassif, please do me a favor. Sorry, Steven. Just go to car number 10 for me, please. Thank you kindly. Now, if we look at this car number 10, which was the car that I was questioning, everyone has said it was a Audi. I stand to be corrected. That, my dear sir, is a Ferrari.
That's a confused Audi. You were looking at the front of the field.
So I did get that car right.
Well, there's Q Silver. I said he was in the Audi.
Yes, he is.
I wasn't wrong. But now leading out, everyone behind him, guiding the pace, ready to go, lights ablaze. You can see Marius backing up the field a little bit, hoping to get the jump. Turn one. Let's see who's going bowling at Watkins Glen.
Oh, well done. Durkee did that absolutely perfect. He held it, because we say that you can only overtake once you cross that start-finish line. And by us doing this, is what we've done is we've eliminated some of those first turn incidents, which now allows the guys to get down to the racing, as opposed to having those turn one incidents and we lose 3 or 4 cars. So Nassif just jumped down to car number 4 or 5, just so we can get a nice view of those cars coming down the back straight for us. And that's what we want to see, as many cars as possible. Now that is Gerard in the Audi, just managing to qualify. Morris going a little bit too deep into the first phase of that bus stop, which has allowed Gerard to close up behind him. And there we've got Tyler just behind him, followed by the Chappie's paper of Terry and the Ferrari of Peter Brunt behind. Then it is Brandon. I'm not too sure which Brandon that is. Just jump there to number 8, please. So that is Brandon DeSantos. I know that Brandon Hills was trying to get his line sorted out, so I'm sure we'll see him coming up in the season a little bit later on. So he's down in 12th place. Ross in 9th. Then it is Stefan in 10th, with Reese 11th, Brandon in 12th, and then Stephen down in 13th position.
Well, I've got to say, it's very interesting to see the Ascari in there, you know, having a bit of fun out there. But also, am I looking at this, and I'm taking a look, I'm scratching my eyes, I'm trying to figure out, Terry is in a TVR by the looks of it. That front end really looks reminiscent of a TVR.
It is a Janetta.
This is a Janetta. Okay, well, Janettas are very well known in racing, but he's...
Whoa, Ross. Yo. So I think this is a strategic go in, get out of the mess. And we've seen Ross do this. He's done this on numerous occasions. He gets out, keeps that rhythm, and finds himself some places a little bit later.
Well, the Ginetta, a very interesting little car, and actually we do have him in SA, where the guys got to be around them. Terry actually got to drive a Ginetta GT3 car not so long ago, if I remember. But Gerard just outbraking himself there. I think he's trying a little bit hard. Those tires are just not coming to him, and that's allowing Tyler to just keep closing the gap. But the likes of Marius is just blasting away now. He's been given that opportunity to go. Dylan, this is what you're talking about. Trying to catch up to Marius is a difficult thing. But just ahead of him, you got Q Silver, who's running away in first place. He's managed to put a 2.3 second gap. But this is not quite where you want to be. You want to try and close down on those competitors as fast as possible. You don't want to have that daylight in between them.
So look, I know that from a lap time point of view, I think Morris might be just struggling a bit to get those tires up. We'll definitely see how you can see a little bit of a snap oversteer there for Tyler, but he did manage to correct it and catch it. And the whole idea is what we want is the good racing, but I'm pretty sure that we'll start seeing those lap times come down as we just see Dirkie doing a 43.4. So he's definitely been able to turn this car on and find that grip a lot quicker. Morris did that 1:48, he's down to 1:45.0, so still 1.5 seconds off Dirkie's pace, but I'm pretty sure that he will start finding that groove. Once Gerard stops, the only place he's really outbraking himself is in the bus stop, and then I'm pretty sure that he'll be able to get himself into rhythm as well.
One thing I just want to point out there is how much work is going into the car. You could see Tyler constantly making small corrections. That car wanting to wander underneath him, which tells me his setup is a lot loose as he has to catch it. There's something we call the pucker effect coming into play. That's when it gets a little bit too exciting and the body stiffens up, waiting for something to happen.
It's when your cheeks grab your seat.
That's it. That's it. Create a vacuum from underneath you. You create your own downforce, if you can put it that way. But immediately getting back onto the button there, which it tells me he's got a lot looser setup. He might be on the harder tires trying to get it up and going, and just trying to get that grip kicking in underneath him. And I know this is something that we actually touched upon on Bravo, and Nassif would have a little bit more of an understanding of the harder tires. We're up into lap number 4. Tyler really battling it out there. Nassif, you were on the hard tires. Is this where it starts coming alive? Is this the moment where the hard tires come in, or is this where it gets a little bit more tricky as the guys have to try and power their way around?
Correction, I was not on hard tires, I was on soft tires.
You see.
Okay, well, there we go. I never asked you in the previous one. People would be listening.
Yeah, but I mean, it still took about 3 to 4 laps for the softs to come in. So I'm surmising the hards will take much longer to start coming in. Because the track technician is quite cool. It's not that hard.
You're going to have a big surprise for the next one, I can tell you that much.
Well, a bit of an interesting Tyler constantly all over the back of that Audi, trying to figure out where can he get by. 0.2 of a second. I mean, that is next to nothing. One mistake, one lift. You sneeze and you touch the wrong pedal, you losing that position in 2 seconds flat. And Tyler's really hunting down old V-Dub at the moment. And this is a proper battle as they charge around the circuit. It's 4th and 5th again. It seems to be the place to be if you're in a Bravo, if you're in Alpha. 4th and 5th is some of the closest racing, but chasing down, we've got a little bit of a Ferrari closing down on them. So do you think...
That's Peter Brunt.
I'm going to pass this to Yellowman. Do you think that Tyler's getting held up here?
I think so, yeah. He's definitely got the pace as he gets a bit loose at going out of that corner again. He's definitely got the pace, and I think he needs to make the move sooner rather than later. But having said that, try also and take as little a risk as possible to try and get past. Let's see what he does when they come down the pit straight. He's right on his back, but I don't think he's close enough at this stage to make a pass. So maybe try and run it up, up the back straight, up to the bus stop chicane, and see if he can make a move at that part.
What I'm seeing is that it looks like he just can't get that rear grip down. He can't get the drive out the corner. So while he's closing up onto Gerard, specifically here on this the main straight, this back straight, is that he doesn't have the ability to get out of the corners to challenge him into the braking point. So you can see Tyler hesitant on the acceleration, where Gerard's been able to just get that car turned in. He's already on the power. So definitely, while Gerard is going slower, he's definitely looking a little bit more comfortable than Tyler at this point.
Now, I've got to ask you, Dylan, you've driven against these guys. You've also tested these vehicles numerous occasions. What can be done in the case of Tyler's car to get a little bit more comfortable? And what can Gerard do to try and pull away from the Mercedes? Because he needs to snap that toe some point as Tyler goes on the inside, really side by side. Who's going to hold it? Tyler's really stamping on the throttle. Gerard does have the inside line. If he can make it stick, decides that he's rather going to back it out. But is Tyler going to go a little bit too wide there? Keeps it all together. So what could have... What was the change there? What was the change of Tyler going, I'm going to take this risk. It feels good. I'm going to go for it. The car's going to stick.
So he was obviously confident. He was obviously confident in the brakes there. Probably had been sizing up Gerard to say, look, going into this point, as I can see that I'm catching him on the brakes, there might be an opportunity there. And it's about just being patient and just finding that opportunity. You don't have to force it, because sometimes that opportunity definitely presents itself. Nassif, just jump down to 8th place for me, please. I just see that we've got the two Stefan and Stefans together, but we've got a Brandon Hills there ahead in the Bentley. So very interesting that the future brother-in-law of Jordan Pepper is in a Bentley.
They're not just going and leaning on that just a little bit. Hey, not name dropping at that moment. But,
and that's how you have a family lunch. Listen, yeah, Jordan, you know that we're gonna be brother-in-laws. All I'm saying is I'm driving in the Bentley. How's the setup?
what can be worked on? But Brandon also coming with a lot of racing background as well. In Formula V, second generation of a race driver. Really showing what he can do.
So his brother Vaughn was actually before him. So how did we work that one out?
Well, first generation would be your father. Then would be your second.
But
so
Vaughn will always say that Brandon is second to me. The same as my younger brother is second to me.
Well, that's it. He's second at the start. Let's see what happens towards the end.
Because I know that specifically in the V's is that the Hills always have that little challenge to see who the fastest Hills on the planet is.
That's it, and this is something I do want to touch on. We spoke about having
Terry's
the real
back in the pits.
In there. So Terry diving back into the pits. Something must have gone on with his car, and that's really dropped him down. Ooh, that's a little bit squished. Trying to make a hot car out of it.
Nassif, just jump there to 6th place, please.
Not what you want it to be, look, but we've also got Reese out there. He is in the car that you actually tested around the circuit.
And this would have been the car that I would have driven, without a doubt.
The Honda.
No, this is the Acura.
It's a Honda.
Built in the US, it's an Acura.
Me and Steven actually did a
Gerard made a mistake there going out of the outer loop there. Just saw him on the outside, which has now put Reese up into 5th place. Now Reese had actually finished 3rd overall in our Bravo tier and qualified for his spot here. And here he is, I'd say more than halfway up the order in a Bravo tier. So definitely it does have the beans to be here. Reese also races with Joshua Wilfred in the karting world in the series that I race. So not only do I get to race against Reese in the real world I mean, online, but also in the real world in our F400 series as well.
That's it. And I know, Yanaman, you've driven the Honda NSX, which is actually the same chassis and same engine development as the car
sorry,
that we're
Nassif, just jump to third, please.
there we go. We've got Marius, who's just cruising around, actually getting a little bit closer.
To Robert.
I mean, this is very close racing. But Yanaman, your thoughts of taking that sort of vehicle and, I mean, developing from Bravo straight into Alpha and into 5th place? That's nothing to sneeze about.
No, not at all. I mean, names aside, Honda or Acura, I mean, it's a conversation we've had, you know, in other leagues as well. It isn't always the most difficult car, or the easiest car to be competitive in, and it takes some work to get right. I mean, Steve, as you'll remember, we did one race in the Acura, so to call, and it went. It was interesting to say the least. We didn't exactly have the pace.
Coconuts, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, guys, I'm just checking the comments that are coming through on the stream, and Brandon from LuxuryTime Racing saying, lots of Brandons here. Jeez, Brandon, we definitely can't have you racing with us. We'd never be able to manage 3 Brandons and just BRA. Jeez, no thank you. But Marshall saying, let's go Alpha. A great drive there for Marshall. Tyron saying, mind blown. And I think that was from my did you know comment, and I started off a did you know with a did you know. Vaughan Hills is here. He is giving us a full send. And then sure, Levi, that's a name I haven't seen for a while. When SARCO was essentially born, Levi was actually the first ISP that I used.
There we go. And that's definitely a welcome to new names, old names, everyone around. Make sure you hit that like button on YouTube. Make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell icon. If you're watching on Twitch, hit the follow. We would love to see you guys there. And on Facebook, like our page, and also let us know how you're feeling. Hit the like button on it. Share the links out there. We are broadcasting on all 3 platforms. And I mean 3 main platforms. We're not going to talk about the others because, well, they don't really stature up to this. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch being put out and showing off our alpha tier currently. Marius chasing down the like of Scolts at this point, really trying to figure out where can he get the drive on him. He seems to be losing out to that Merc through the corners, but he's able to make it up on the straight. He's really doing what he can to just have that almost a rubber band effect, get into that toe, get pulled along, and move up forward. I mean, this is a very difficult thing. You start tunneling into the car ahead of you. You're trying to figure out what are they going to do, and at the same time you can miss your brake markers very, very quickly. I mean, this is a place that you want to be in, but a place that you also have to be very mindful of. Yanaman, you've been in these cases before, and with Marius, what is he going to have to do to try and figure out where the brake markers are?
Yeah, I was actually in this scenario last night, and there's a saying that goes, as soon as you see the brake lights of the car in front of you, it's too late.
Haha, yes.
So, you know, it's actually very similar to driving in the sun. You can't see in front of you, you can't see the brake markers, so you're finding yourself a lot of the time anticipating when the guy's going to brake. What I do a lot of the times is I tend to study the guy in front of me, try and figure out where is he braking earlier, yeah, or that type of thing. And yeah, it's not the best thing to do, but as I said before, I find myself looking around trying to find those brake markers, but don't look at the brake lights. That's not going to work.
Got to drive your own race, keep that pressure, wait for that opportunity, and then have a go.
Well, yeah. It's not going to be easy. I mean, Marius has to work hard here. Scott's just ahead of him, is not backing down. 6 seconds behind is Tyler Scott, trying to make up a bit of ground. But these are the best of the best here in SARCO, really giving it everything they got, putting in some fantastic times. And I just want to point out that our leader just beat the world record for GT3 racing at Watkins Glen in 20.
Is this it? I think this is it. Oh, see, Robert saw him coming, so he just squeezed the gap, which meant Morris had to go even tighter on the inside. But Morris is definitely going, okay, now it's the time. Now you're going to feel the pressure. I need to get past you now.
That's it, and don't wait for the brake lights. You have to try and put yourself in the right spot. There's the contact into the wall. Not going to help him, but as we spoke about that tunnel vision, there it was. I think that was just carrying a little bit too much momentum, hoping that there was more road than there was, and unfortunately, that's taken a bit of a knock on the car. It's backed off a bit. Now he has to go back fighting. I mean.
Nassif, just jump down there to 8th place, please.
I mean, that's a frustrating position to be in. And there is our Catch a Cat Lamborghini, striking colors. I have to admit, it's a very standout car, very comic book looking style. But he's getting chased down by Steven right behind him, though, really pushing hard as they going after Brando Skills. But on the grass.
No, that was a lag bubble. There's no ways that he would have been able to do that and get away with it.
Oh, that or Skills. I'm gonna put down to Catch a Cat. Just used one of his 9 lives. That's for certain.
So Ross, actually, I was Scottish international driving from Scotland, and was actually one of the first original SARCO members.
That's it. And looking at the front end of that Lambo, it's got a bit of damage to it. I know when we got a closer shot, I know Tim the cameraman's going to get a nice little zoom here. You can see just there's a little bit of a lift between the front bonnet and actually where the nose is, and you can see, so he's definitely got in touch. Wall, outbraked himself.
No,
and lands up.
Lag, silly.
Yeah. Nassif,
just jump there to 2nd, please.
I mean, that is a difficult thing, but it's nice to see our international contingent coming in. But one person who's been soaking up the pressure, Skoltz, just allowing Marius to get closer and closer, and let's see, moves to the little bit center of the circuit. As you can see, just leaning slightly onto it, making sure that, listen, if I need to block, I can. And I can still hold my line. He's not taking a super defensive line. He's just putting enough spacing that it makes Marius second guess breaking into turn 1 to go for that pass. I mean, that's very, very clever thinking, but how long can you go with it? You're constantly watching your mirrors, or if you don't watch your mirrors, got it in the back of your head. You can hear them. They are around you.
Especially that Cadillac.
There's no pressure.
Especially that Cadillac makes a lot of noise when it's behind you.
So Marius hunting down, trying to figure out where is he going to get by. This is a difficult situation. Dylan, I mean, you've been in this spot more than once with these drivers. I mean, both very experienced sim racers, both very experienced in what they can do. And both of them have fought it out for championships. And this is what we're seeing again, which is like a repeat of the previous season where the twos got to have a battle with one another.
You see, that Merc, Robert's got that thing so hooked up that while Marius is able to like follow him through the corners, is that once Robert gets that power down, he's able to use the power of that Merc just to pull that gap. And I think Marius must be feeling very frustrated, like even a little touch of the brakes there, which on that corner you shouldn't be needing to brake. But I think this is where Marius will get him. You see, so he got a better drive, but now this is in the slipstream. Marius is not closing up on him. Will just have a little threatening look on the inside, but won't be able to make that move stick. But you see now all over the back now, Marius can get right up behind him, going up through turn number 3. And possibly set him up, but that, you see, Marius had to come out because now he lost all that downforce, and that could have put him up against the wall.
And that's it. And I mean, this is the driver's eye that we're seeing right now. This is exactly the sight that the drivers are seeing. No difference. Only thing that we're not seeing is the gearing, which they would see on their front, on the dash. But I mean, this is it. You can see how tricky it's starting to become. All the shadows coming into play. And you can also see a bit of a dust that's kicked up, that windscreen getting a little bit dirtier, the sun kicking in, all the conditions getting more and more challenging as the laps go down. We're on to lap 14 at the moment. He's just lost Roberts, but that sun is definitely not helping him. And all the dust that has kicked up on the windscreen that's made it a little bit dirtier. Well, I'm sure he's hoping that the pit crew have got the tears ready or got the Mr. Min and rag to go and clear that up.
So just one of the things I needed to point out is we know that Ross went into pit just about on that first lap. So he's already up to 7th place, knowing that he has pitted. Stephen has pitted, as well as Gerard in 9th place. So once the pitting starts for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, it's going to be interesting to see where they come out. So Robert deciding now's the time for him to go and pit with 11 laps left to go, 10 laps now. So will Marius be able to get the hammer down, get 2 or 3 laps in terms of a better pace than what Robert could have possibly get, and actually leapfrog him into the pits? But again, we don't know what his strategy is.
Lots of discussions going on and lots of thoughts running through these guys' head. We got Silver out there, and he's just absolutely cruising in that Audi. But one thing we got to just point out to the spectators is, yes, they are currently racing, but they've also got their own little channels that they chat to, not only their teammates, but maybe some people that are watching the stream or watching their race, busy trying to plot things out. I mean, we've seen it before, where pit bosses come into play, teammates go, right, I think this is the right time, and it turns into a little bit of a game of chess at this point. It's no more just put your foot down and go racing. It's trying to outthink your competitors. What's going to be the best thing? Get that pit stop strategy done and dusted, get back out there and move up through the ranks. I mean, this is rather exciting to see where the guys are going to do it. And it makes me wonder, when is Marius going to pit? When is Silver going to pit?
I can tell you Marius is going to go as long as he can, and that's his style. He wants to get into that rhythm, go as far as he can and kind of pit later on. Nassif, just jump there to 8th place, please.
And as we keep an eye out, here comes Pete as he charges around in the Ferrari, and that's almost a day-glow red, the iconic Ferrari colors, the bright red, stands out and strikes fear into the hearts of the competitors and love for all the fans out there. Oh, gotta love a Ferrari sometimes. Sometimes.
Sometimes. When the strategy goes right.
Exactly. I saw the greatest meme, and you've got these 2 dragons, like these evil-looking things.
Yeah.
And it says Ferrari. And it was actually Ferrari themselves that put it up. I could not believe it. It was like, it's Charles and Carlos, and then you've got this guy that's like cartoon going. Meanwhile, it's the strategist.
This crazy dragon. Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, that really did well there.
But this is what we got to enjoy, is manufacturers also embracing the new age, getting involved with the sim racing side, getting involved with the, not afraid to go and put a meme out. I mean, let's be honest, it's like putting an open letter out in the newspaper. It can either hurt you or it can make it work. You've got to roll with the punches there. But seeing the likes of Ferrari, BMW, Nissan, Mercedes, and many more manufacturers now coming to the world of sim racing and supporting the guys. I know a lot of guys that are driving actually are getting hired by car manufacturers to race for them in sim racing. And I can say, hands down, I can see these guys in our alpha tier getting a bit of a look from our teams that are across there. LuxuryTime going to be eyeing out and saying, okay, maybe that's a good driver to have with our racing team that's out there. Maybe Schick is sitting going, well, maybe we can get a racing team put together and go battle it out. This is things. Manufacturers, companies, teams are being formalized right here. And this is the home place it needs to be, right here at SARCO for the Schick Global GT3 Series. And what a better way to, this is the best way to spend a Monday, watching some awesome racing, close racing, and getting to analyze what people are going to be able to do, how the strategies are going to work, and who's going to climb up on top. Because as we saw in the last race, it isn't over until the checkered flag comes down and you've parked it in that pit box, because lots of factors kick in. You get tired, which, I mean, it is going close to 10:30 at night. These guys have been awake from probably 6 o'clock in the morning and battling it out. They've done a day's work and now having to, really duke it out. They've got also the youngsters who've gone to school and they come to race here as well. I mean, we've got to talk about the real factors that can influence the sim racing factors right now as time goes on.
The worst one we have is a disconnection. Like poor Mafira, he disconnected. We'll see that Terry's not in. He actually just dropped me a message to say that he was losing power in his wheel, which is an absolute disaster. I had a very similar incident that happened to me last night. Is my wheel started overheating, and with 17 minutes left to go, I lost the feeling. I had no feedback, and I subsequently lost the rear on the last lap. As we see Steven having a run down on Brandon, he's going to try and go around the outside, because that's not the place that you want to go. And that's exactly what I was saying. You stick the car on the inside, especially there, and you're not going to lose that place.
Well, you hope you don't, because it also puts enough pressure on that you might miss your brake marker and go too far out wide. But Brandon having to go on the defensive. Bit of a bump and
Brandon in the wall.
Steven made a dodgy move there. But we'll have to leave that for our stewards to have a look at.
That's it. That car's got no steering left.
Oh, yeah, taking a big move on the inside, and unfortunately, Brandon had nowhere to go. Now he's just gonna reverse it, J-turn it. There we go. It's fine. Steering's not quite straight. Don't worry, bend it the other way. But I just want to point out here, he's not giving up. He's not quitting. He's not teleporting back to pits. He is going to drag that car to the pit lane and get it fixed. And that's something I want to take my hat off to, is the drivers that can bust a car up but have no idea what give up means. It isn't even in the dictionary at that point. That the last thing that's there, run it on the rails. He's got no steering, but he's going to get that car back to the pits, hands down, for everyone to work on it. And honestly, Brandon DeSantos, you earn my respect for doing that. I've got to give it 10 points for that.
Totally agree with you, Stephen. That shows some determination. It actually looks like now he needs to turn it with the rear end, because the car actually doesn't want to make the corner. Yeah,
it almost looks like that front left is non-responsive at all. You see that it's just basically pulled him straight into that wall.
But he's going to try it, and honestly, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is what we love to see, and this is our alpha tier, showing exactly the no give that we learn to expect from this top tier. And he's going to drag it into the pits as we follow him through. And I'm getting chills at this. And I've got to say, mate, you made it. And that is no easy feat.
You see how that car was actually crabbing as we watched him approach the line there.
And he's got no control over it. He's just going to drag it to the box. That's it. Get it fixed, guys. I want to get back out there. I want to maximize my points. And the guy's going to do some quick work on that car, get it up and going. But a lot of work is needed to claw his way up through the field. Brando Skills in the big Bentley, having a bit of fun out there. And going in, well, let's say, representing at this moment. No pressure at all. But also showing a bit of his driving experience from a karting background to Formula V's. And has got the family watching him at this point, saying, listen, you got to go. You got to keep up the hard work. And I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. There's a lot of pressure that comes onto you when you're a real-world driver, second generation of champions. And I can say that. They national champions. They scored national championships. And you now putting your skills to the test in the sim racing world. And this is not the first time he's been here. But he's got Skoltz chasing him down, doing everything possible to close down on it. And, well, the pressure is immense. But I'm glad to see that there is people coming across from real-world racing into sim racing and seeing that there's a lot that can be gained here at SARCO.
So I just wanted to mention, looking at the gap between Morris and Tyler and Robert, is that, remember, Robert was fighting with Morris. They both went into the pits. So it looks like Robert either made a little mistake somewhere in the pits or mistake on the track. But that gap, just over, what's it, about 20 seconds is that gap between Morris and Robert. So something definitely went down there.
Well, Marius still needs to get into the pits. He's waiting for that E for enough for the fuel tank, I think, and maximizing. I think at this point he's holding a rag close to it so it can sniff the rag and run on fumes, because the last thing he wants to do is run out of fuel, and which we saw in the Bravo tier is a real thing. It can happen, and it will break your race in 2 seconds flat, and it's something that will sneak up on you before you know it. You get so sucked into the race, you get so sucked into good racing, pushing hard, and when the car says, well, I'm out of juice, buddy, that means you're out of the race.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened to me a couple of times.
We won't talk about Jake's and his questions about fuel. I think he's done it 3 times.
I think everyone has
twice at the same track. We had to Long Beach and one at Bathurst.
I think if you haven't run out of juice at some point and wanting to climb out and push the car, you haven't really pushed hard enough. But Dylan, you might have not run out of fuel, but you've had moments where you've ran out of talent, and I think that is moments that has happened, which we will see towards the end of the race. We're 21 laps in, and this is where we usually see the run out of talent come in, as guys get a little bit too complacent.
No, 100%. I was just going to say, Nassif, if you could jump down to, but I see that Stephen is chasing Peter Brunt here. Oh no, so they're actually out of position. So this is Dirtke, who's is in the lead, but I see that Brandon is just within that second between himself and Reese, so they're fighting for that 7th and 8th place.
It's very interesting, but you can see how Q Silver 73 having to just keep it all together. He's had a good run. It's now maximizing those laps, and looks like he's boxed in right at the last.
It is pit time.
Well, let's hope that it had enough juice to get him to the pits. I know lots of working out there. Here comes Marius. Is Marius going to box, or is he going to keep going? No, Marius decides he's going to keep his foot on that throttle, pushing it right through the floor, and getting informed he's currently in first place. Man, if you have any chance to try and pull away, this is your moment. You have to get everything dead right, because that pit stop is looming on you very, very quickly. And I've got to just remind to everyone, it is a mandatory pit stop that the guys have to do. They have to do a pit stop to be able to finish. Otherwise, their results, they will get penalized severely. Other than running out of fuel, Dylan, if you don't pit, what would be the penalty?
Well, fortunately is that we don't have to worry about that, because there is an indicator that will come up and will say that you have to pit. But if you don't get your pit stop in as a mandatory, you will lose a lap.
Losing a lap, especially with how close these drivers are. I mean, yes, we've got guys that are under a minute around, but when you, Marius, and you've got your closest competitor 13 seconds right behind, it is monstrous. Brandon DeSantos saying, unfortunately, his car did not get fixed, and that damage was just quite a bit onto it. Brandon, I'm gonna say it now, buddy. You earn my respect to drag that car back to the pits the way you did, using they're not even barriers, they were guide rails for you. You had everyone here in the commentary box cheering you on, and thank you for showing the outright never die attitude, never give up until you get dragged out of the car attitude. So, mate, hats off to you from my side.
Yeah, I've raced. Sorry, Steve.
Oh, you go, Yellowman.
No, what I want to say. I've raced against Brandon many a time, and that's always been a characteristic of Brandon. He's always had that never say die attitude, and he will always, try and do everything he can to continue. But I think that car just had enough. We've all had incidences like that where we unfortunately have to retire the car, and you just can't drive any further with it.
The Audi becoming a smart car, unfortunately. But Peter Brunt going and having fun. He's in 6th place. We haven't had too much of a chat about him. Mr. Consistent over the course of many seasons.
Kind of been hiding there in that midfield a little bit. Interesting.
Well, that's it. But maximizing his points, and I've got to point out, he's a very consistent driver, and I think this is a good place you want to be. You're 6th place, you're trying to get those points in, and you got your eyes heading into round 2 as we keep an eye out. And there goes.
That's
that
Ross.
Looks to be. That's our Lamborghini that's suffering from lag all the way from across the waters in Scotland, just ahead of him. So Catch a Cat really trying to keep it all together, but Peter Brunt slowly closing him down, trying everything he can. 1.7 seconds behind. 2 laps to go. It's going to be a hard push for him to try close that. But Marius pulls into the pits now, and with that 10 seconds slowly, well, not slowly, fastly disappearing underneath him, and that's allowing Silver to get very, very close to him. So let's see, will Marius be able to get the jump on? It's going to be close. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, so
but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was about to say, just jump there quickly. Just want to see what's happening. So, yeah, Marius is out of there. And I see that Robert has gone into the pits now as well. So he followed, Tyler, apologies, has gone into the pits. So Robert 16 seconds behind. So Marius should come out quite comfortably here in 2nd place. Which then puts Robert back up into 3rd. And will Tyler be able to hang on to that 4th place, knowing that Ross did pit earlier on? So that's also going to be an interesting one to see.
That's it. Catch a Cat now coming by, standing on the throttle, hoping to move up a position. Really giving it everything he can to jump up into 4th place, hopefully ahead, but still holding that 5th place and just not quite getting there in time. But I've got to say, some very, very impressive racing from every single one of these guys, putting in some phenomenal times out there. We're seeing those 44s coming in, those 45s as well. And it really shows the skill level of our Alpha tier and why you want to be here, why our Bravo tier, why even our spectators sitting on the sidelines want to get to this point. You want to become into the Alpha. You want to get into Alpha tier. You want to win Alpha tier, because that means you've beaten the best of the best. And I would say here in South Africa, but let's be honest, you've beaten the best of the best that's come from across the waters. Duke it out right here at SARCO for the Schick Global GT3 Series.
Yes, man. Just jump there to 6th place for me, please, Nassif, because Ross has got his work cut out, because we got Peter Brunt, who's closing up nice and close. And Ross is going to have quite a battle, I think, to try and keep this Ferrari behind him as he goes into turn number 9. I just want to see, Ross is definitely struggling. I think he might be running out of tyres, because Peter Brunt looked very confident going through there.
Well, yeah. I know Nastif has got a big smile on his face going and checking a Ferrari, giving a Lamborghini a rough time, and we could see those pearly whites out of nowhere. But take a look, Ross in the pits. That has given it to Peter Brunt, diving into 5th place, and Nassif,
Ross is going to be dropping down. I think he's... I don't understand, unless he was going to run out of fuel, but to be pitting on the last lap, I'd love to know what has gone down there.
Well, I had a closer look at that Lamborghini, and it looks like he's sustained more damage than what we saw when we saw it the last time. All windows cracked on that car, and I'm not sure it had that damage the previous time we saw him. So, who knows? Maybe he was fighting the car a bit there as well.
Getting a bit worn out, but
well, look, I see that he's already going, so that doesn't look like that might have... I honestly think he almost ran out of fuel.
Miscalculation, maybe.
that deep breath. But one person who's not going to be taking a deep breath and has got a smile all the way to the line, Q Silver 73 in the Audi R8 LMS GT3, taking the win for the Alpha tier. Lights ablaze, and what a race it has been for him. Start to finish, what a fun time. Marius going in, finishing out in second place, one up from where he started in the big Cadillac. He's more than happy with that. Third place is going to be Robert Scholz, who's in the big Mercedes cruising across the line. And what a race for him, going and keeping it all together. Tyler Scott in fourth place, cruising across in his Mercedes. Going to be smiling all the way to the bank with that one. Great progress up through. Peter Brunt, though, in fifth place and going and scoring it on the last lap, saying one and done. Thank you very much. That's a tick in the book for Ferrari against Lamborghini as Mr. Consistent comes across. Then we've also got Brando Skills. That is Brandon Hills having a bit of fun. He gets across the line, and big support for the Bentley, while we keep an eye on Gerrit, who is in a bit of a chase. He's trying to get away from Ross, who is very close to him, but I don't think Ross is close enough. Oh, Ross into the wall. That snapped on him right at the end. Gerrit coming across the line, but will Ross be able to hold that 8th position? It's going to be close.
That was a big impact.
On the line. Just dragging it across. Steven finishing right behind him, and wow, what a thing. But Reese. No, he ran out of fuel. He ran out of fuel.
No ways. Reese cannot believe it.
That is absolutely gutting. We saw it in the pits where you just couldn't get into the box, and I'm sure there's a little bit of an ask of, guys, can you give me a hand? Just push me along, please. You know, do a bro a solid right here, guys, please, and just watch Volvo wave as he goes by, saying thank you, everyone, thank you. Hey, he even stopped to say thank you. Oh, well done, buddy. But what a race, and honestly, what a turnout towards the end there. I mean, wow, I honestly didn't expect that, and I've got to ask Janeman, your thoughts onto our alpha tier for that round number 1. I'm lost for words at this point. Round number 1 of our Schick Global GT3 Series.
You said it early on. This for me is truly world-class racing. It's not just, you know, taking on the best in South Africa. It's taking on the best in the world, and this is where you want to be. If you're racing on console, you know, if you're racing in this alpha tier, you can say, you know, I've done something in sim racing. It's truly awesome race.
That's it. And Dylan, I mean, taking a look at that finishing positions there, what's rattling off in your head? I mean, this is absolutely amazing here at Watkins Glen.
Well, let's start off with the fact that we've had Ross pitting like right at the end. Not too sure. I think it was for a splash. We had Reese running out of fuel right at the end. There's just so many things that have happened. We had Marius, who had an amazing battle with Robert through the beginning stages of that race. Just wasn't able to overtake him sooner. Looking at some of the fastest lap times, Marius and Durkee, look how close they were. So I think that if Marius was a little bit closer to Durkee, he would have been able to add a little bit more pressure. But again, we never know, and hindsight is definitely a perfect science. PB in the middle, nice and consistent. Brandon, we know that he kind of just jumped in, used the car, and off he went, and was able to come home in the 6th place. Gerrit, mistake for him. He was up there as well. He lost it through the outer loop, and I think that might have caused some damage, which would have just slowed him down a bit to make that progress. Stefan, 8th place, his first appearance here, comes and qualifies for us, steps up 8th, what didn't come off last. Stephen did say that he struggled a little bit with the setup, gets himself an 8th, and then Ross. Some definite questions will be asked of Ross in terms of that finish. Reese running out of fuel. Brandon, his retirement, a great effort there for him. and then Terry losing that power.
So losing all the connection there, but our top three doing the same times. Okay, the 1:43 is the same time as not only as our star Formula Mazda Pro single seaters, but the same time as the GT1 prototypes, namely the Porsche 911 GT1 Evo. And that's to say the guys managed to put it at the same times as a GT1 is mind-boggling. And that was a GT3. I'm absolutely blown. But I see we have got our first place man here, Mr. Q Silver himself, Dirkie, in the Audi R8 LMS. How are you feeling, buddy? Taking round number 1 and taking that checkered flag. I mean, mind blown. Well done. And for a minute there, it looked like you might have missed out that first place. What's rocking through that mind?
Yeah, no, yeah. It was a difficult race because it was a lot of concentration. The car was loose, and even especially on the end. So on the last lap, I nearly lost it, and I thought, no, I'm going to have to take it easy now because I'm on the last lap there. So yeah, it was. The last half I could keep it back a bit and hang it back a bit and keep it safe. But in the first half, I had it pedal to the metal, and it was lacquer to get that gap and get some breathing space. So yeah, that was the race for me.
That's it. And the man that's currently stretching his legs and really had to work hard in the legendary Cadillac. I mean, it's one car that you can always count being in a GT3 grid to show up a couple of the guys. Marius, buddy, how are you feeling? You had first place for a minute there. You had you had to work hard to hold your position. But right to the end, you took that pit stop just as you coached the car into the pits. How are you feeling, buddy?
I'm very tired.
Boris, that battle that you had with Robert in the opening stages, it just looks like you couldn't get that car like hooked up to come out. Robert was using that power down the straight, and you just weren't able to make that move. But then going up into turn number 8, just got that opportunity, put it on the inside, and man, oh man, what an overtake!
Yeah, he actually went into the pits. I was enjoying the battle. I just could not get past him. Every time I think I've got the drive out, that Merc is so quick in a straight line. I just could not get into a position. He kept me, and while I'm fighting him, I'm seeing Dirkie is just, another second. And I was getting a little bit frustrated, but I enjoyed the battle fully. It was a very hard race because of the track temperature went up with more than 20 degrees in the second half of the race. So it became there in the end or at some stage was very, very slippery. The only reason I stayed out long before I pitted was I just wanted to see if maybe Dirkie makes a mistake or I can shrink the gap or something to put in. But he was nailing it, so well done. It was awesome. Thanks, guys. And Robert, nice battle. I enjoyed it, man.
There you go. Third, but definitely not least. And Robert, you had a fantastic race. You cruised around. You've got your luxurious beard, which I could see you constantly with, trying to figure out what's going to be for round number 2. How are you feeling with that? Third place for round number 1. Great effort. It seems like you had the car a little bit more set up. You're a little bit more comfortable with it. Was there a lot of, I can actually do this, I can get ahead of these guys, and did the strategy have to change because you got into quite a monstrous battle with the mighty Marius Cadillac?
Yeah, no, I decided it's time to pit because if I gave it another 2 laps, I think it would have got a bit physical. So I thought, no. Marius is getting closer and closer, and it's getting now a bit tight, so I thought, okay, well, I got a little bit of a gap on the last couple of corners, so I thought, okay, I'm just going to fly into the pit and pray our braking time. But yeah, the car was very funny after the pit. Picks up tire pressure, and it was weird, and that's where I lost an extra couple of seconds. Just those 2 laps.
The track is so hot that if you stand still in the pits, the pressures just go up.
Exactly. I can keep it on the track, all right, just at that pace, and I tried and I tested. But as soon as we go pit, and then those 3-4 laps after that pit is 2 seconds down a lap for myself. That Merc is just too tail happy. You put your foot down, it's everywhere.
Gets a bit interesting. One thing I have asked the Bravo tier, and I actually want to point this out because we do have a lot of people that are watching. I'm actually going to ask, starting with Robert. Robert, what is the steering wheel you are using? Is it the big direct drive that a lot of people expect our Alpha tier to have? Or what are you using?
An old school T300.
There we go. Can't go wrong with it. Now to our second place man, Marius, fighting the Cadillac. I'm sure you got a monster of a steering wheel that you're trying to hold on to. What are you using?
A G29, my friend. I've always used G29s. A rugged old G29, old faithful.
Except that one day that Marius came for a weekend up in Joburg for a karting event, and he used a T300 once.
Yeah.
Did you use the Ferrari steering wheel as well?
No, I did not. He didn't want me to touch it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so
And now to Dirkie. You finished it first, and I know a lot of people are going to be also looking at it. What sort of gear are you using?
I'm on the remote, eh?
You're on the remote.
No, I'm just joking. I'm also on a T300.
That's it, and I mean it's really enjoyable to actually see that you guys, putting a huge amount of effort, lots of racing and some very close racing, not on the thousands and thousands and thousands of rands worth gear that a lot of people do expect. So, well done. But I'm going to lean on this a little bit. Robert, what's your plan for going into round number 2 to maybe undercut Dirkie and get around Marius next time?
I need a lot of practice, but I like the track. So, let's see. I like Algarve. I always used to call it Algarve. But I love it.
It's in that area. Don't worry about it. Marius, bit of tinkering on the Cadillac needed? What you going to do?
Yeah, I in general don't tinker much on a car from track to track, but I also like Algarve as one of the best racetracks there is. It's got nice elevations and it's a nice wide track, heavy on the tire wear. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. See if I can stick with Dirkie for a change.
That's it. And Dirkie, I'm sure you're going to give Audi a call and listen, buddies, I need a new gearbox, new engine, and maybe a bigger turbo. What's your plan going into round number 2 for the Schick GT3 Global Championship?
Yeah, no, I think after this race, my drivetrain and engine is stuffed, so I need new ones. But
we're happy to get you starting at the back, Dirkie.
I definitely need some grip at the back. My rear end is very loose, so I've still got to work on it. And that's a problem on the Audi, especially on the brakes. Going into the corner, it just wants to lose the back end. So I'm going to have to work a little bit harder on that just to get it a little bit more stable. Otherwise than that, I think it's okay. It's not the fastest car out there, but it's balanced. I can work with it.
Going and showing the weakness of the mid-engines to the 2 guys that have got front engines. Just pointing out there. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. Yaneman, anything from your side that you would like to ask our podium of our Alpha tier for round number 1? Since you came from SARCO.
Yeah, I'm just looking at them and I just want to ask one question. Are you tired? It looks like they had a proper workout behind them, and
Listen here, when you get over your 50s, you're tired just walking to the rig. Never mind.
No, the point I'm trying to make is, a lot of people think, you just sit in a rig and you play around, but it's actually proper hard work racing, even for 40-45 minutes. It's like doing a good gym workout.
No, for me it is, for sure. I'm buggered after a race.
I think the concentration level is the biggest thing. To keep that thing on that track, it's very different. Very, very different.
Yeah, and sometimes mentally draining.
Yeah, proper. It's like hectic.
That's it. And Dylan, I know you've got a few questions that you want to ask the Alpha Tier. You're missing out this season, and I can see you chomping at the bit. That steering wheel just calling your name out, and considering you see
it's all good.
these
Look,
three that are...
I made the decision to bring the streams back. I'm glad that we were able to get it up and running, and I'm just thank the Alpha Tier for just being patient while we were trying to find a half an hour between changing the different consoles to get it going. So thank you very much, guys. But also a big thank you to our sponsors, Schick, that have coming with some hampers that we're going to be giving away, to LuxuryTime for the opportunity for any community members, drivers, supporters, just get hold of them. On our posts on Facebook, you can go and find them. You can check out the website for Bulldog Skincare for Men. We're going to be giving away some products as well. And then NAG.
I need a saver.
I can help
won
you.
the last championship. Can you see
So
it?
you can see Dirkie sorted. So that's the benefit.
I'm a good ad for Schick.
Thanks, Dirkie. So yeah, guys, all I can say is thank you very much. It's been absolutely fantastic having you, NASA, for jumping into the hot seat in directing your first race with us. Thank you very much, Janneman, our special guest, I could say, this evening.
Yeah, it was
kind of
fun.
like
Thanks for
come
having
and
me.
say how's it, and then stuck around for the whole show. Really appreciate it.
Sorry that I took over.
Right, guys, all I can say, thank you very much. We'll see you next week, Monday. We're at Algarve, and I believe the track temperatures are up to 58 degrees. That's going to be an interesting one.
Another one.
Right, guys.
Well done. See you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Nice. Well done, Marius. Thank you.
And to everybody on the stream, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. To my co-commentator, Stephen Koenig, thank you very much. Also to our other Stephen, who helped direct. And Janneman, you're always welcome to come and join us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was some great fun. It's always fun, having you guys around, and SARCO will always be my home of sim racing, because that's where I started out.
And where we actually met up. And,
And we met up.
Team Heap Together started in SARCO in the commentary box. So that says something. But
Yeah.
from my side, it's truly an honor being back here. It's always exciting. I really did miss it. Got to do some interesting commentating and other things in real life and in the sim world. But it's always nice to come back to a bit of laugh, learning code coconuts again. But honestly, it's exciting. I love it. I can't wait for round number 2 and all the action. I mean, what better way to spend a Monday? That's all I can say.
100%. Guys, we'll leave you with that. So until next week, Monday, keep practicing, keep racing.